Up like this. Hit it.
The Roger Report live morning show. Weekdays at 9 a.m.
Say y'all, I was on Roger's panel a few times and I couldn't take it. The heat. I got out the kitchen. It was hot. I was sweating. I had to get out.
He's Roger, and he's right.
Check this out.
We can live or die. You choose. I have spoken to you a lot of times in hatred and anger, and you have not heard me. Well, you had better hear me today. If you won't listen to me when I make an appeal for the Negroes because you have no concern for the Negroes, listen to me when I make an appeal for America. You claim you love America. Well, we love America. But you are driving us back and you are making a Samson out of us, and we are going to pull down the pillars. And then you think we have no right to ask for something? Is it too much to ask you to grant us human dignity? Should we be put down and shot to death for this request? If so, you can aim your guns. What the hell do you think we care about dying if you're going to deny us the right to live?
Good morning, folks, and welcome to another edition of the Roger Report Live, the best show on social media. If you are new to the channel, go ahead and take a moment out there, hit that like button, because this is where you're going to find the best content on social media, and you don't have to worry about it because you're going to have me right here to make sure that happens. And if you've already been coming to the channel for a while, then go ahead and hit that like button, because you already know what time it is. And you know that this is where you're going to get the best content on social media. It's not a mystery to you at this point. You've seen other people do it. You've seen other people do it well. But what you have not seen is anyone do it quite the way I do it. So make sure you hit that like button. And everyone, yes, everyone, take a moment out to share the content, y'all. There are so many people who need to get great content like this, and it's just a small thing you can do to help the world be a better place. And isn't that what we want at the end of the day? Don't we want the world to be a better place? Of course you do. So share the content out. Share it through your social media. Share it through word of mouth, or even text someone's phone. But do what you got to do to help spread the word. All right, folks, today we are back with another very interesting subject. Okay, another great thing I was asked to do. Y'all give me some great suggestions sometimes. Y'all do give me some great suggestions sometimes, or give me good ideas on how I can formulate some stuff. I'll say that. You give me some good ideas on how I can formulate some stuff. And today we are going to be looking at being useful to the group, y'all. We're going to be looking at being useful to the group. Now, before we get too far into this, first of all, I want to say shout out to all my people who watch on a regular basis, people who give me views on a regular basis, because y'all make up the fam, and I appreciate you big time. Appreciate you big time. Shout out to all the people who leave comments after the stream, because, you know, you help me with some ideas and you give some great suggestions here and there that I'm able to formulate into something. And you help with the algorithm. Shout out to the people who hype me up every chance they get. I know you can't do it all the time, but when you can do what you do it, and I appreciate that big time. And shout out to everybody who hits that like button, y'all. One of the main things that you do over in these parts, you make sure you always hit that like button, okay? No matter how old the stream is, you make sure you get back and you hit that like button. Appreciate it, appreciate it, appreciate it. And shout out to the people who go above and beyond the call to duty. The people who become financial contributors over here at the Roger Report Live, because y'all help make it happen around here. And I cannot do things the same way without y'all. So I definitely appreciate it. Definitely appreciate it. Definitely appreciate it. And I want to give a special shout out to Bright Phantom, y'all. Bright Phantom is what we like to call around these parts the sponsor of today's stream. I appreciate y'all. Remember, all money on the wood is good over here at the Roger Report Live. So shout out to Bright Phantom. Appreciate you, appreciate you, appreciate you. And that's real talk, y'all. And let me give a couple shout outs to some of the first people to check in, because it's always good to see a couple people checking in when you're about to get your show started. But y'all know how it goes around here. There can only be one. So shout out to the Highlander of today's stream. My main man, MJD the second, he done it again, y'all. He's done it again. So shout out to you, brother. Shout out to you. Glad to have you, man. Glad to have you. We got my main man, Trail Bentley, following up right behind him, representing as he always does. Appreciate you big time. Hashtag long live the habitual line steppers. Hashtag Negroes in the wilderness. Hashtag dignity over vagina. Hashtag Al Gore's babies. Hashtag Hell Hydra. Shout out to you, my brother. Shout out to you. My main man Gold P is here following up right behind him. Great to see you, brother. Great to see you. What's good? What's good? Shout out to Floyd Thompson in the building. Yay, yay. Glad to see you. Glad to see you. Tunnel Runners in the house. What's going on, my brother? What's going on? The Great Black Reset is at the cool table. Great to see you. Great to see you. Shout out to Inspired Truth Broadcast. What's happening? What's happening? Superstar Jay Quick is in the building. Great to see you. Great to see you. And shout out to the Pitmaster himself, Chef Mike Roundtable is in the building. Shout out to him and the pit crew. So shout out to Jay Dub and Mr. Suge to you. Glad to have y'all on board. Glad to have y'all on board. Afro Merchant is in the building. What's going on, my brother? What's going on? Great to see you. Great to see you. Great to see you, y'all. And we gonna dig into this one. Okay? We gonna dig into this one. And I'm gonna say right off the top, y'all. All right. This is one of the reasons you're gonna have to separate your view of the Black community, or at least recognize the subcultures of the Black community. Because people talk the Black community thing, and people like to get real inclusive about work that needs to be done. But people like to get real exclusive when it comes to somebody else doing the work. They want you to be included, but they don't want to be included at all. Okay? They don't want to be included at all. And this is the thing, y'all. All right. We got to really focus on Black men working together. Because I've told y'all before, it's men that make up a community. Women and children are not part of a community. And I know a lot of people may not like that, but if we start coming to terms with reality, we got to be real about what's going on. Women and children do not make up a community. Okay? Women and children are allowed to participate in a community. But they do not make up a community, because a community of women and children is a defenseless community. So they exist based on the decisions of other people. Let's hear that again, y'all. They exist based on the thought process of somebody else, another group of people. Okay? As soon as someone else decides that they don't need to exist anymore, they cease existing. Now, people can say, well, what does that mean? Well, no. Let's be realistic now. Let's be realistic. If you have nothing but women and children, when somebody else decides they don't get to exist, then they don't, because they're women and children. which means what? They can't fight off any enemies. Okay. uh, I'm laughing at that, bro, merch. uh, and that's just how the game goes. It's a cold world out there sometimes, y'all. It's a cold world out there sometimes. And the thing is, from a realistic standpoint, I mean, you got to see it as it is. It's great to try to get the world to where you want it to be. I try to do that on a regular basis. But in order for me to get it to where I want it to be, I got to look at where it actually is so I can push it in the direction I want it to go in. All right. So women and children do not make up a community. They do get to participate in one, though. Okay. They get to participate as long as they follow the rules, they get to participate. But again, a community of women and children exists on as long as somebody else allows them to exist. All right. So the Black community is made up, the overall Black community is made up of two very big subsections. All right. You have a subsection of Black men who are respectable, productive, and functional. All right. That believe in Black men's leadership. Because those are the elements that can push a community forward. Okay. You can't push a community forward if you don't believe in Black men's leadership. Nor can you push it forward if you're not functional, nor if you're productive, nor are you respectable. Because people got to follow somebody. And people got to know what they're supposed to follow. If you're not respectable, well, people won't respect you at all. And then, you can't lead people very well if they do not respect you. Let's be real about that. You can't lead people very well if they don't respect you. It is a difficulty trying to lead somebody who does not respect you. Now, we got to be real about this. Black women, for the most part, do not like Black men that are respectable, that are productive, and that are functional. All right, we can say whatever we want to say about it, but we see it every day. And Black women do not like the idea of Black men leading. They prefer white men lead. Just is what it is. Now, a lot of folks will make up excuses why they prefer white men leading. Okay. Some people suggest some reason that they really believe deep in their heart. It's a very legitimate reason. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. And I'm going to say, as Black men, we have to start recognizing what is useful to the group. Okay. What is actually useful to the group? Now, I'm going to say, yes, you have to be an individual first before you can be a group. It takes more than one to be a group. So you got to be an individual first, and then you got to, slide over with somebody else, and then you can form a group. You need at least two people to make a group. But as an individual, as a Black man, the thing is, being respectable, productive, and functional shouldn't be that much of an issue for any Black man. I'm not saying it ain't an issue for some Black men. I said it shouldn't be much of an issue for a Black man. Now, I take it if you were raised in a single mother home, these things could be a problem for you. Okay, they could be, but they can be corrected. It's not like you can't correct a man who wasn't raised to be productive. Okay, a man can correct himself. Okay, you get around other people that are, and you will learn to be. So I'm not saying you can't learn to become that, even if you wasn't raised to be that. Unfortunately, some people lose out on some great opportunity before they learn how to be productive, functional, and respectable. There's people who had the world at their shoulders, and then they blew it. Folks who are about to head into the NBA, drug overdose, boom, gone. There's opportunities out there. Sometimes we blow the opportunities. Sometimes we don't even see the opportunities, whatever the case is. But the thing is, we got to start paying attention to who is useful to our group. All right, who is useful to our group, and that's why you need things like having a code is a good thing because it lets people know how they can move to be useful to a group. Now, this is the thing. I'm gonna say most black men are actually productive, functional, respectable. Okay. Now, do they believe in black men's leadership? That's a different bit of a story. That's a different bit of a story. I know there are some. Now, how much of my own money am I willing to bet on? Is it the majority? I wouldn't be so comfortable doing that because I know black men were taught to take a backseat on basically every chance they get. We've been taught to take a backseat to other people. Are black men comfortable leading other black men? Sure. I'll say that. We have been taught that being the head nigga in charge is the way to be. Not the head man in charge. When they say head nigga in charge, they mean the head nigga. We've been taught being the head nigga is a good thing. Now, guys who were raised more by men, they can accept men leadership a little bit better. That's what I see. Men who were raised by men can accept men leadership a little bit better. A lot of us, we do things according to what women want. And I get it. There's a natural thing about a man who wants to please a woman. And no guy has to act like this ain't true. It's hard to get to, real solutions about things if you don't want to look at a real problem. Right? You ain't got to be ashamed because you want to please a woman. It's a natural thing to want to make a woman happy. The thing is, you're supposed to just have limitations on what you're willing to do to make a woman happy. And a lot of black men have never been taught those limitations. Therefore, we do a lot of work to try to make women happy. And it's not helpful to the group. All right. Now, let's think about this, y'all. The dirty macking thing. You have men that have been taught that in order to get women, you got to dirty mac. Supposed to tear down some other brother so you can look better in the woman's eyes. Which is totally unnecessary, especially when you really think about the fact that women don't really have standards in the first place. I don't know why I got to tear a brother down in front of a black woman when she don't got no standards. So what's tearing him down gonna do? Okay, what's tearing him down gonna do? Because when you think about it, nothing really. If anything, tearing down the other brother will get the woman to go toward him because a lot of black women do like compromised men. Okay. Let's be realistic about stuff like that. We got to be realistic about that type of stuff. All right. Now, at 18 years old, every black man needs to get out here and figure out a way to either get a job. Okay. It's okay to go into the workforce. That's the way for you to be productive. If you're not going to do that, go to college or some form of trade school, further education, before you go out into the real world working. Nothing wrong with that. Okay. Or you start a business. Some young guys start businesses nowadays and they able to take off. If you have something that will take off for you, yeah, go do it. Or if you got a dream, when you're young, that's the best time to dream. Okay. See how far it can take you. Now, I know a lot of people say you don't supposed to chase after your dreams or have a backup plan. I'm a person that does believe, well, if you're going to pursue a dream, why not do it when you're young? Okay. If your dreams fail, you're just going to be a regular person. Everybody else is regular anyway, so why are you tripping? Okay, so go after your dream when you're young. You might be able to start a business and do something big. Nothing wrong with that. Or you go into the military. All right. There's a lot of great opportunities in the military. Probably the one thing I would do there, if I had to live life over again, I probably would go into the military. You know, maybe I would have a 20-year career. You know, now, of course, all that's about the influence of what you have at the time. You know, my family never pushed me to go into the military, even though I had a lot of military people in my family. I'm almost surprised he didn't push me to go. You know, now the thing is, as men, okay, we do have a responsibility to be productive because our group needs productive men. It's that simple at the end of the day. And I think a lot of black men got to take it seriously on which subsection of the group do they want to be a part of, because we do have brothers who believe in black men leadership, who want to make things better for black people as a collective. Then we have these very, dysfunctional, anti-family, single mother community men. Now, these are the men who, they cool with being a single mother. They're cool with, single mothers, as if they did nothing wrong. Now, my thing is, I don't condemn single mothers, but they do need to realize what they're doing wrong. And if you don't say what they're doing is wrong, then of course there's no reason to correct anything. It's that simple at the end of the day. Now, I am going to say that women seriously should be married before they have babies. They should have babies with their husbands and only their husbands. And that's just real talk. All right. But now we got a lot of black men who don't necessarily believe that. And that's the thing we got to really, pay attention to. We have black men who've been raised in a single mother community that's very anti-family, very dysfunctional, and they simply believe that a black woman should just have a baby, whether she is married or not. And I know there's some men who go say, well, hey, you know what? Because of the marriage laws, I don't necessarily want to get married. And I totally get where you're coming from. But should you have a kid with a woman that you're not married to? Because those laws ain't really in your favor either. So no matter how you look at it, it's not in your favor. All right. You can get married and have a kid, or you can have a kid without being married. The law's not in your favor either way. All right. So the thing is, why have a baby with a woman that you don't feel comfortable enough to marry? Now, that's something I think black men really need to have as a concept, which is something that we really don't even have as a concept. Why on earth would you have a baby with a woman that you're not comfortable enough to marry? Okay? Think about that. Because I understand the law not with you either way. All right? Shout out to Shaka Lulu. He said, so how come nobody talks about that? Yeah, hey, I don't know if you joshing right now or not, but hey, I'll talk about it, because that's what I do over here. I do stuff that everybody else ain't necessarily so quick to do, But I am gonna say, yeah, it as a man, you shouldn't be comfortable having a baby with a woman that you don't feel comfortable enough to marry. Because at the end of the day, you're gonna get problems either way. If you're a married man and you're married to her, if she go rogue, you're gonna have problems. If you're not married to her and she go rogue, you're gonna have problems. Now I guess we probably need to take some time out to really think about which set of problems do you have, because you might have more problems as an unmarried man than you have as a married man if she decides to go rogue. But the thing is, y'all, we do have to bring on people that are useful to the group. Yeah. Oh, okay, Shaka. He said, no, I'm talking about the unconventional marriage. Okay. Okay. I hear you, brother. All right. Now, as black men, I understand why some of us don't look at the world the way we should, because we have yet to understand that the Black community is our group. When people say Black community, they mean all kinds of stuff. And they really talking about just Black people overall. Black men do, at some point, we got to look at the Black community as the thing that we own. This is our community. Therefore, we get to say who's in it versus who's outside of it. You know, and I know this is hard for people because, you know, we're taught to do it as everybody told us to do it. So we see a bunch of Black women who want to be involved in chaos and anarchy and whatnot. And we're told that there are women. And some of us will say, well, they're not our women. But the problem is, in action, there are women. Now, I've said before, I give them a olive branch to even say there are women from time to time. I'll say it. All right. But this is the thing. How much you going to do for them? All right. Because if there are women, I don't have to give no money for kids to go back to school. Because if there are women, they be married. Okay. Remember, you see, you got to see how things go together, y'all. When you're 18 years old and you're out of high school, if you're a man, to be a part of our group, to be a part of our community, you got to be productive, respectable, functional, and you got to believe in Black men's leadership. If all those things aren't there, you're not a part of our group as far as I'm concerned. So anything I do for anybody who's not a part of my group, yeah, that's definitely some charity right there. That's some. But you know what? Even if I'm going to give charity, I prefer to give it to somebody that's in our group. All right? I prefer to give it to somebody that's in our group. So if you are outside of the group, I give you what I want to give you, and that's it. I don't feel bad. Okay? Nobody can make me feel bad that I gave too little. If I give somebody $2 and $2 is it. Right? You can't make me feel bad about only giving somebody $2 because it's charity at the end of the day. Well, you could give a lot more than that. Yeah, maybe. I guess if I really could have, I would have. Okay. Well, you got a little money. You could have gave them something. Well, you know what? It just didn't feel right in my bones. Okay, it didn't feel right in my bones. So obviously, that's all I could do at the moment. That's all I could muster to give them at that moment. $2 is $2. It's $2 more than they already had. All right. Now, the thing is, as Black men, if we consider ourselves respectable, productive, and functional, and we truly believe in Black men's leadership, are we willing to tell other people how to get into the group? Because how do you get into this group? Well, if you're a male, and once you become 18 years old and you're out of high school, you got to make a decision. Are you going to go to college or some trade school to further your education? I mean, we can encourage that. We can get behind that. If you're not going to do that, are you going to join the military? Okay, don't tell us about it. Just be about it. All right. If you're not going to do that, are you going to get some job? Are you going to get out here and become a worker in society and start carving out your piece of the American dream? Or are you going to go into business? Okay. I think we should encourage, young men to go into business much more than what we have done in the past. Because the American dream, for a long time was, get a job, go to college, get a job, and, get your piece of the American pie. Okay. So we do need to encourage more folks to get into business. And I know it can be difficult getting into business if you don't have a bunch of money just laying around, or you don't have parents that could just throw tens of thousands of dollars at you. But you're going to have to just figure it out. All right. Black men are very, very innovative, and we can figure out how to make things happen for ourselves. Okay. Or you could actually go earn some money and do what a lot of other people have done. You save up some quote unquote seed money, so you can plan into your own business later. That's what you got to do sometime. Now, the thing is, a man have a choice to do all those things. Once he's 18 and out of college, out of high school, he can choose to do any of those things and he's fine. Women, they would have to marry a man like that. And some people may say, well, that's more difficult to do because now you got to get somebody who wants to marry you. How hard is it to get a black man to want to marry? Because I promise y'all, it ain't that difficult. If a woman offers loyalty, some good character, and some good company, he just about going. That's all he really needs from a black woman to be satisfied from a marriage perspective. Now, people may say, well, can she, what about the looks? I mean, if she looked better, it's just easier. Let's just keep that real. Black men ain't never had it where women had to be a dime piece. All right? And truth be told, her character is going to last way more than her beauty is anyway. So looking good is nice. And looking good is a bonus. Looking good can get you talked to. But at the end of the day, you know, it don't take all that much. Okay? Now, I'm going to say shout out to Excalibur. He says men are smarter. She's going to have to show and prove. All she got to do is show she's loyal to you. If she can show you that she has good character, and if she shows you that she's good company, that's it. That's the proof. You know, and I'm not disagreeing with Excalibur, but we do say something like it's that hard. It ain't that hard for a man to be okay with a woman. It's just not that hard. Okay. Now we see a lot of stuff that's going on. We see women doing things that are not something that we want done, but we talk like it's like somehow what we wanted got difficult. What we ask for as men ain't that difficult to give. You know, now we can act like it's difficult to give, but who's that gonna help? It just ain't that hard to be loyal. All right. Now people can make it out to be hard. Well, you know, there's all these men, and you know, women got to go through this thing where all these men are trying to talk to them, and all she got to do is keep on walking, or she got to say no, thank you, you know, and keep it pushing. You know, if she got a wedding ring on, a lot of guys are gonna leave her alone anyway. It's not that hard. Okay, it ain't that hard. All right. Now women can say it's hard, but let's keep it real. They just looking at some dude is talking to them because all he want to do is have sex, and that's it. He ain't trying to take care of her. He's not trying to, you know, make her his responsibility. It's just somebody you want to have sex with. If it's that hard to turn down sex as a woman, you know, nobody should be really talking to her on any kind of real level anyway. All right. You know. Excalibur said, y'all, he said, true. It's not hard in our mind, but for women, it's hard. Laugh out loud. Hey, man, I ain't taking no excuses for them. That's all I'm going to tell you, man. I don't care how hard they think it is. And y'all, women may tell you it's hard. You're going to have to say to them, they adults, okay? You're an adult. Ain't adults supposed to do the hard stuff? Ain't the easy stuff supposed to be for children? So even if it's hard in their mind, who cares? I'm going to tell you like that. Even if it is hard in their mind, who cares? You're an adult, so therefore you got to do some hard stuff. It is what it is. You know? Now, the overall black community would be much better if people just bought into the things they need to buy into. And let's be realistic, y'all. Being productive, respectable, and functional. These are not hard things to be. Okay? How hard is it to be a respectable person? You get up, you get dressed, you move as a person that should get respect. Now, I understand you can't control what the other person do. I give you that all day long. You cannot control what the other person do. You cannot control how somebody else chooses to perceive you. But you yourself personally can be a respectable person. That is not a difficult thing for anyone to do as an individual. Okay? You can do things that you believe should bring some level of respect. You can dress properly. You can move with proper intention. And there's always things we can do to improve ourselves. All brothers have things that they can always be improving themselves about. You can improve yourself about your weight. You can, improve things. There's always something that needs to be built that you ain't got to yet. There's, a basement that you need to clean out that you ain't got to yet. There's always some stuff to improve. Okay. Now, being respectable is something you have 100% control over. You can't make somebody else respect you, but you do have 100% control over you presenting yourself as a respectable person. Being functional, something again that you have control over. If you are not in if you don't have a mental problem, y'all, and I'm talking about an actual mental problem, I'm talking about where they need to lock you up because you're not safe for society. If you don't have a mental problem, you really have no excuse to not be functional. Okay? You really have no excuse not to be functional. You can get out here in the world. You know how to talk to people. You know how to move around people. You should be able to recognize who to get away from. And sometimes we got to learn some tough lessons on who we should talk to or who we shouldn't talk to. But once you recognize it, then you just simply move accordingly. But that's something that's on you. Okay, that is something that's on you. That's something you control. All right. Now, being productive. All right. And I know as time goes on for some of younger men coming up, this might be getting more and more difficult. I'm going to tell y'all like my daddy told me, y'all. He told me one of the realest things ever. He said, if won't nobody give you a job, give yourself one. All right? If won't nobody give you a job, give yourself one. So you can be productive. All right? You can be productive. Now, you may not be productive the way you want to be right from the beginning, but all you got to do is do what you can do, and then you can work yourself to something better. I told y'all before, man, one time I was down to my last $20. I went to a candy warehouse and started buying candy and selling. That was back in my rapper days. And I wasn't trying to get into the drug game. Me and my friends talked about that. Should we get into the drug game? Because that's how a lot of rappers get on. And that's how they get money to do X, Y, and Z. And I was down to my last $20, literally. I was down to my last $20. But I decided, no, I got to do something that's going to be legal. Okay. But I still got to make something happen for myself. I got bills I got to pay. I got to live where I got to live. Okay. I got to pay the rent. I had to do what I had to do. So at the end of the day, y'all, the thing is, no matter what your situation is, you can be useful to the group as a man. It's just about when you choose to be useful to the group. And I think for a lot of us, real talk, shout out to Inspired Truth broadcast. He say slanging that sugar. Well, that's what I was doing, brother. It wasn't that booger sugar. But a brother had to do what a brother had to do. And the thing is, I was just successful at it. That's all. I was way more successful at it than I thought I would be. I wish I kept track of all that stuff back then. So it wasn't that booger sugar, but it was some sugar. And that sugar kept the lights on, as they say, y'all. That sugar kept the lights on. But see, the thing is, no matter how someone feels about a person doing something like that, because I got certain little remarks and people made certain little comments. You seen, some guy even at that time selling all these different candy products. Now I ain't saying what they are, and now if they wanna throw some money at me, I can start advertising all the time what all that candy was. But at the end of the day, At the end of the day, y'all, I took $20 and still became a productive man. Now, people may say, well, dude, you was selling candy. What's that? At the end of the day, it was a legal way for me to earn money and pay bills. Okay, what do you earn money for? Okay, don't you earn money so you can pay bills? Now, if you do it in a legal way and I do it in a legal way, we do it two different legal ways. I'm just as productive as you are as long as I'm earning the money. Okay, I'm earning it legally. I ain't doing nothing wrong. I ain't hit nobody over the head to take their money. Okay, I'm doing what I got to do. Shout out to Great Black. He say Roger's the real Eminem. Well, I can't say that. I wish I had some Eminem money. I'll tell you that. You know what I'm saying? I wish I had. Now, you can take that either way. You can take that either way. Because I'll take some Eminem money. That's for sure. That's for sure. But at the end of the day, the thing is, you can always choose to be productive, no matter what. All right. Now, I believe a lot of Black men, we look at the Black community through Black women's eyes. I'm going to tell y'all that straight up. I believe a lot of us, we look at the Black community through Black women's eyes because the first thing we think about is women that shouldn't even qualify to be a part of our group. When we think about the Black community overall, you think about women that shouldn't even be considered a part of the group. There are Black men who will say stuff like, well, you know, I'm going to lead the group. You cannot lead the group. You're a Black man. Men are the community. And that's something men going to have to get past. Men are the community. But a lot of Black men don't like being a part of the community because of you see the community through women's eyes. And we don't necessarily do what we got to do to make sure that our community looks better. But you do get to reject some people. And I know this is hard for Black men because we're not used to being in charge, or we're not used to people telling us that we even supposed to be in charge. You know, a lot of us believe if we in charge, it's an accident. Or we waiting on somebody to show up who's supposed to be in charge. Now, you may say, what am I talking about? Let's think about this realistically, y'all. You look at Black women. All right. Now, I'm going to say Black women are a group that has moved in a very different direction than Black men for the most part. Okay. There's a small section of us that do work together. You know, we still got some married couples out there. And if, you know, it's always been hovering around 25% for a long time at this point. It's been hovering around 25%. Now, I know some of y'all may say, well, everybody in the marriage ain't good, but then there are some people who working together that just ain't got married yet. So I'm going to just accept that 25%, let's just say 25% of Black women are good for Black men. Let's just see that as accept that as a number. There's 25% of Black women that are good for Black men in this particular country. And shout out to all my people listening around the world. You know, I know some places I like America, some places a little bit different, some places are a lot different. But let's just say it's about 25% of worthy women in Black America. Well, of course, that's not the majority. And a lot of them are not thought of when people think about what the Black community is. You see what a bunch of single Black women do and agree with, and you think of that as the Black community. Now, I'm going to say that's already bad in itself. Because you see a bunch of women who are not even useful to the group. You know, I support Black men who get married to a Black woman because without me knowing her personally, because you vouch for her, I got to say she's useful to the group. All right. As long as you're a Black man who is, you know, anywhere between 18 and, you know, before you become 65. If you are college, if you are in school, whether it be college or trade school, okay, if you have a job, if you are in the military, or you own a business, I consider you a productive man. Because I know that there's some level of discipline that you got to have to be a productive man. It's not easy to choose to get up and go to work regularly. Okay. Now, most of us who work 5 days a week, that's not an easy choice. Now, if you're anything like me, you done woke up on more than one occasion and that bed felt good to you. Okay. That bed felt good to you. But you know what you did? You let it go. You woke up, you was feeling real good. That bed felt just right. Your body temperature on them covers, man, it was feeling good as I don't know what. But you said, no, I got to get up and be productive. Okay. And you let that bed go. And it was tough. Okay. Y'all know how some of us do. You know, that alarm clock go off. Let me get 5 more minutes real quick. Let me get 5 more minutes. A lot of y'all got that 9-minute sleeper. You done hit the sleeper 3 times. You know, 27 minutes later, you finally get up. All right. Yeah, 27 minutes later, you finally get up because you done hit that sleeper, 3 times. You know, that bed be feeling good to you. But at the end of the day, all right, I got to get out here and make something happen. Or, something I say, came out of an old commercial, you get up because it's time to make the donuts. You got to get up and get ready and get out the door because it's time to make the donuts. Okay. I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all remember that old commercial, y'all. It's time to make the donuts. Okay. It's time to make the donuts. So you let it go because you understand there's a responsibility to being a productive man in our society. All right. We need you to make us look good. Okay. We need you to make us look good. And this is something Black men really need to start really, taking into their heart. As long as you're one of us getting up and making it happen on a regular basis, you're making the Black community look good just by you doing that. Now, things happen where people say that you always have to do more. Look, y'all, no matter how great you are, no matter how successful you are, there'll always be somebody saying you have to do more. I'm going to say sometimes it's better to just simply ignore those people. I was going through some stuff literally just last night, y'all. Y'all know, of course, you've been listening to my channel. You're very much aware. Michael B. Jordan got his first Oscar for best winner. For best actor. All right, but I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all are aware that Ryan Coogler won an Oscar too for best original script. Y'all know I come across a video. A young man was covering some stuff. He showed all this stuff. He showed screenshots and everything. Y'all know it's somehow an argument started that Ryan Coogler ain't did enough for the LGBT community. Ryan Coogler hasn't represented them enough. And people was making all kinds of stuff up like, sinners could have had some LGBT. Now, this is the thing. He's a successful man. He just got an Oscar for his movie. And I'm going to say niggas, because I'm not going to even say they was Black people. Even though it was Black people the dude was showing. It's a very Black conversation. I'm going to say niggas is out here complaining that he ain't done what they want him to do. He is not responsible to put everything in every movie about everything somebody wants done. Sometimes you got to make the movie yourself, y'all. Sometimes you have to make the movie yourself. And I'm saying this because no matter what you do as a Black man, outside of other Black men, maybe 25% of women, they ain't going to be happy with you anyway. They're going to find a way to complain. Now for me, it was one of the most outlandish things I've ever heard. You know, when I see people were actually complaining about this, but dude was showing receipts. Okay, he was showing receipts. All right, okay. He definitely was showing receipts, so I can't even trip. But it's ridiculous to think that just because he did a great job and just because he won an Oscar, you know, now people coming at him because, well, you know what? You didn't have any LGBT in that film. Man, who cares? It was a good movie. If you want some, don't the LGBT people run Hollywood anyway? Y'all make your own movies, man. What's why Ryan got to do it? Okay, why Mr. Coogler got to do it? It's based on what they say. It's a lot of gay folks in Hollywood. Okay, if they want some LGBT in their films, they ain't nobody stopping them. Okay, ain't nobody stopping them. Shout out to the Great Black Reset. Appreciate the super chat, my brother. Appreciate it. He says, more importantly, MBJ is going to win his first Rogers Award. And you know what? That's better than an Oscar. That's for sure. That's for sure. That is definitely better than an Oscar. Because you know what? I'm gonna say they did a better job when I actually watched the Oscars this time. But if I wasn't the content creator, I still would have been missing Oscars. Because real talk, because I gave up on them as a collective. I gave up on the Academy Award knowing what it's talking about a long time ago. Long time ago. Shout out to Inspired Truth Broadcast. He said it was a period piece. It wouldn't fit. You know what? Inspired Truth Broadcast, I'm gonna say this. It ain't their movie, man. Let it go. Okay. If they want that movie, they can make that movie. And real talk, Hollywood's supposed to be full of those people anyway. So I ain't studying that. And I'm gonna say this. We as black men, sometimes we do concern ourselves way too much about what some other group wants. All right. We can do our thing. We make our art. Okay. If it's movies, if it's music, whatever you want to say. You know, we live our lives. We go to our jobs. We do what we think is good for us to do for our group. And if people ain't cool with it, we shouldn't even be worried about them. And that's just simple as that. Because as a black man, America proves time and time again, you will never do enough. And that's the unfortunate part about people's quote unquote feelings. You'll never do enough as a black man. So why worry about them? But I do have a guest up, so I'm gonna let him go ahead and get the mic. We got pink toes in my mouth. has hit the stage. So you got it, my brother.
Happy Monday, everybody.
Happy Monday, brother.
You know what? So let's say for a guy like you, right? If I get me a pink toast with a side of watermelon and some chicken, does pink toast become part of the community?
I mean, a man can make her part of the community by marrying her. I mean, if it's a black man that's part of our community and that's his wife, we can't say his wife ain't part of the community. He married her.
Because I always hear that, oh, she's white, she's not part of the community. Oh, that's interesting.
I'm going to say dumb stuff is said every day. That's all I'm going to say to that. Dumb stuff is said every day.
Right. You know what? So my reparation is going to be some pink toast, some watermelon, and some chicken. I ain't trying to build nothing because I'm just a nobody. I ain't trying to build much. That's what I want. Some pink toast, some watermelon, and I'm good. I'll go my merry way.
I mean, that's cool. I ain't going to say it's reparations because when you say reparations, that opens up a much bigger issue. You know? So, I mean, that's cool if that's what you like. That's cool if that's what you like.
That's what your queen said. Your queen said every time you get with a white woman, that's your reparation.
But I ain't worried about what she said because you know, as you say, your queen, she ain't my queen. She can't be a queen. She ain't got a king. Yeah, let's think about that. Okay, you gotta have a kingdom. I ain't never been in somebody's queendom. All right, so I don't know what they talking about on that one. I don't know what they talking about, but I'm gonna say at the end of the day, you do have to get a woman that's gonna be useful to the group. And at the end of the day, why should we worry about what her color is? All right. Again, any black man who deals with a woman outside of a black woman, that is black women's fault. Because black women basically has first access to black men. We gonna see them first. They had more kids, and we go through puberty. They gonna be right there. As a young black man, I went through puberty. Technically a kid at the time. And guess who the first women I saw? Black women. So if black women don't do what they supposed to do to get black men, that's on them. And that's how black men need to see it. Okay? And that's just real talk. And shout out to Floyd Thompson. Appreciate the super chat, my brother. Appreciate it. He says, Roger, get my first heart and hustle award. Appreciate that, brother. He says, hashtag long live habitual line steppers. Hey, man. Somebody got to do it. Somebody got to do it. But I appreciate you saying that, brother. I definitely appreciate you saying that. And I take it as a real thing. I like that. The Heart Hustle Award. I can definitely take that one. Real talk. Appreciate it, brother. Appreciate it.
Don't leave the candy man.
Yeah. and I'm gonna say, when it comes down to it, yeah, we do gotta understand who is useful to the group and who's not useful to the group. And I think black men, should simply be just a little bit more serious about, what your authority is in the group. Because we do have women who are going to say all kinds of ridiculous stuff. They're going to say that. But that don't mean we got to abide by it, and I don't mean we got to care about what they said. Truth be told, one of the best things for black men to do when women come at them about problems is tell them to tell the problem to your husband and have your husband present it to us as a problem that we need to solve. Okay, and shout out to Floyd Thompson for the 57-cent Trail Bentley tax. Didn't say that. Shout out to you, brother. Appreciate that big time. And I think that's how you get a lot of problems solved. Because I'm not going to act like problems don't exist here or there. I may see something as a problem, but you may not. A woman can see something as a problem that I just don't see as a problem. But who cares about a woman? Her husband. So if she tell her husband about a problem, her husband is going to go to his network of men. If he deemed the problem worthy, he's going to talk about it with them. And then next thing you know, they create some type of game plan to solve the problem. All these different things that we've seen in the past, y'all, it didn't happen out of nowhere. I know people may not have thought about it, but where y'all think Martin Luther King Jr. came from? Somebody presented something to him and he said, you know what? This is a problem. Let me do something to solve it. All the people who was working with him, that didn't come out of nowhere. Truth be told, I bet a lot of that came out of women saying something to their husbands about this thing being a problem. How are we going to solve it? I bet a lot of that came out of women complaining about living a certain way and they wanted to get something done about it. Because women gonna complain. Let's keep that real. Now, I'm not saying it took the men for the women to complain, but I am gonna say realistically, while the men were figuring out how to handle certain things during Jim Crow, the women were probably complaining the whole time. And I'm not even saying it as a negative way, but how you get something solved without complaining about it? That don't usually happen. Most solutions come from somebody complaining. Shout out to OG Lee. He says a truthful black woman was always been around black men. We grew up together, black men and black women. Yes, most of us have literally grown up in a black neighborhood. Okay, and it was black people for a good amount of the proximity you were in. If you was a black person, you probably had a bunch of other black people for a good 3 mile distance. So who I'm gonna talk to first? I'm gonna talk to a black woman. Now, people gonna say, people can say anything about an individual. You can make a joke about some individual. Well, what if the guys that was around the woman wasn't good? Nah, you can save all that. You could say a guy individually wasn't right for you, but you can't say the group wasn't right for you. And that's just the way it goes at the end of the day, because black men, we live in a world that we're faced with some tough decisions. And if we don't apply ourselves in the proper way, we will end up homeless, we will end up dead, or we will end up in prison. And this is something black men need to remember. So when you hear black women complain about how men ain't on a square doing stuff that they supposed to do, why buy into the hype? The only way for a man to do this in an American context, he got to live with some woman who just want him to be there. Because let's keep it real. Who gonna take a bum in? Now, he might live with his mama. His mama may not ever kick him out. I get you that. But that's a black woman. Or he can live with his quote-unquote girlfriend. She may not kick him out. I get that. But where else he gonna go where he's not gonna be kicked out? Ain't no man finna take him on. You can't even live with your own father and do nothing. I've never heard of a black man who had a kid and he let his own son live in his house and do nothing. I ain't never seen that once. So you can't do it with your father. I ain't never seen a black man go to his friend's house and just live there for free. And the friend just be like, oh, it's cool. Just stay as long as you want. You ain't never got to work. Yeah, you could be here 5, 6, 7. You don't see that amongst black men. And so at the end of the day, a lot of people just be talking mess that don't make sense. And they push narratives that aren't true. When it all comes down to it, black men have to be productive regardless. So I'm just going to say, just make sure the fact that you're productive is just more useful to our group than somebody else's group. Because you're going to be productive anyway, and you're going to end up homeless. Because all the unproductive black men I know about, they are literally homeless. I'm not saying that as a joke. I'm saying you could go to different cities and see them on the sidewalk. Okay? That's where they are. Now, shout out to Tunnel Runners joining us. What's going on, Tunnel Runner? How you doing, brother?
Everything's good, sir. Everything's good.
What you got on this one?
Yeah, I mean, when you get a good woman, she can be very helpful to the group because she keeps you happy. She keeps you from fighting and arguing with her. That you can be more helpful to the group. You can help other brothers see the light. When you got your coconut pancakes coming to you, and they're gonna be there and they're gonna be ready for you, you can think about other things that are going on and be a very helpful member to the group. Your peace of mind is a wonderful thing.
Absolutely.
So it can be very helpful no matter, if they could just want to respect you and keep you blessed. Pray for you, keep you excited and keep put a smile on your face. You'll be less intimidating to other people.
Yeah. I'm gonna say shout out to OG Lee again. He said, all we black men got in the South is black women. Everywhere but Miami. On the East Coast, there's a lot of different cultures of women that like black men, especially in Washington, D.C. and Maryland. And I'm gonna say, OG Lee, does it really matter? At the end of the day, if you're a black woman, you're gonna be where black men are because we're children when we first start into the world. And guess what we got? Brothers and sisters. So, black men are going to be around the women regardless. Now, the thing is, if they don't do what they're supposed to do, so somebody will take them serious, that's their personal problem. And why they didn't choose to do something different is on them. It ain't that hard to pull a black man. Because again, black men ain't looking for no super tough stuff. Okay? They're not. All right. Now we can say what we want to say, but if we get realistic, black men don't be looking for for super tough stuff for women to provide. Stuff is very easy. Stuff is free. Don't cost no money. How much does it cost to have good character? Zero. How much does it cost to be loyal? Nothing. All right. So we're not looking for the toughest stuff. Having, being of good company. How much does that cost? It's free. So there's really no excuse. We just make excuses for them at the end of the day, and we need to just stop that. But we got one more guest who done came up. He said what his name is. Black women always been scared of me, but you got the flow. Go ahead.
Hey, Roger, thanks for having me up on this magnificent Monday. Long live the Habitual Live Peppers. Yay, yay. The reason I came up with that name, bro, is because, we got to flash back a little bit. Think about the black young ladies who are now women we were around when we were in kindergarten. Yeah, you had two types of women, or young ladies. You had the ones that would punch you or beat you up if you slapped them on the booty, or grab their arms or try to get them into the coat closet to try to sneak a kiss. But then you had the other ones that was down for it. Then we had a subsection of young men that were friends with these girls. So I look at it in a sense like from kindergarten, these young ladies turn into women were always looking for that type of guy that would always run to him if a guy that's productive like myself or yourself or everybody on the panel would get on their nerves, try to shoot their shot a little too much. Now you in a conversation with the so-called protector/bully, but then something happens in class. This is the same girl that, is maybe spitting lies on you all the time. And then try to be your friend later on. Like, I didn't mean it. Oh, we're still cool. I like you. But you like me. But you're going to tell the teacher on me so I can get in trouble. That it dawned on me last week. Yeah, but I didn't jump up on the panel. I was too busy with some stuff with work. Where the women, they want those kindergarten guys. But then you fast forward to moms and grandmas and think about them Friday and Saturday nights, where as a kid you might be around and you're waiting on dad to probably come, but he don't show up. Or dad calls the mom and so you get caught up at work and phone call gets hung up. So you're with the girls, they might be sipping a little something, playing cards, and now she's bad mouthing. But you're around, and those same people she's playing cards with, those girls, which are their kids, are there with you trying to hang because they don't have no babysitters, or they make the card game the babysitting session, but you're in a whole other room. So you get to see what these women are telling. Moms are telling the girls. And if you're hearing it firsthand, you know how they're going to try to treat you growing up. You know they're always going to shoot their shot or let the guy they like shoot their shot. They're never going to go for you. They're scared of you because mom says stay away from him. If mom's calling you a square because you're productive, functional, and growing into somebody who believes in black men's leadership as a young man, what do we expect these women to have? How they want to treat us when we're older, and what they call that, the reach back. When I remember you when we was younger, or I remember us going to school together. You was a square, but I got my stuff together now. And your life is crap, woman. And you got 5 kids, 5 different dudes. You should not have listened to your mama. I was always trying to draw you from the dark side. So that's what your mama was scared of. So you can be away from her. So you can be a part of our society. Yeah, I'm gonna land my plane there. I'll chime in later.
All right, appreciate it. Now I'm gonna say this. Now don't get it twisted. I've heard a lot of people say that even girls pursue dumb guys. Now I'm gonna say it like that. You know what I'm saying? Because the story is the guy who was not getting good grades that the girls would like. I'm not gonna say there's no truth to that because black women don't have standards. So if you're messing up in school, she don't care. You know what I'm saying? That's like messing up in life. She don't care. At the end of the day, when as she picks up on certain patterns and you want to get a man that you believe that you can control, you're gonna go after a man in a compromised position anyway. But I'm gonna say realistically, we're not white, y'all. A lot of us, we try to fit these white narratives into the black world. We're not a bunch of white people. Okay. We had girls that mess with some of everybody. Now, it's some guys that got attention a little bit faster, but girls kind of mess with everybody at the end of the day, especially when we got older and then, we start having physical contact with each other. So my thing is this. Do girls like dumb men? Yeah. You just notice it more. That's all I'm gonna say. You just notice because you look at a guy and you perceive him as dumb, and you used to be wondering why she messed with him in the first place. So you just pay more attention to it. The smart guys had women too, because black women ain't never had standards. Okay, so everybody gets them, and that's just a real thing. Now the thing is, as men, do we focus on being useful to the group, and do we want women that are useful to the group? Because I'm gonna say this: as men, we haven't been taught that we should be useful to the group, and that our women should be useful to the group. Which is why you'll have some things going on, like an unfortunate incident with Anthony Edwards, who had a baby. They say it's the same baby mama as Lil Baby, the rapper.
The baby.
They say it's the same baby mama. I ain't gonna say her name because she don't even deserve to have her name said. I don't know her name, don't even care about her name, and she don't deserve to even have her name said. Cause she's famous for having sex with people. That's it. She ain't did nothing as far as I know. The only thing I ever heard about, she had sex with 2 different guys. That's it. Okay. She had a baby by a rapper. Now she had a baby by a basketball player. Now, am I mad at her? No, she doing what she got to do to get out what she want to get out of life. But let's keep it real.
She winning, Roger.
But maybe in her mind, but the thing is, a lot of women been given a lot of money and still found a way to lose. So we got to see how that's going to play out at the end of the day. So no, I can't say she winning because she ain't got no husband. So I can't say she winning.
Well, according to whole standards, the wholeology, she winning according to wholeology.
If you are accepted that you a hoe, I can understand how a hoe would come to that conclusion. That's for sure. I've never seen how a hoe would come to that conclusion. but I'm gonna say the thing is though, as men, we have to say, am I useful to the group? And then the women that I'm bringing around, are they useful to the group? Because if you don't see them as useful to the group, you're not supposed to attach yourself to them. I ain't gonna get down on Anthony Edwards. I'm just gonna say he shouldn't have had a baby with her. Now I know that was not in his plans, obviously. And when she got pregnant, he definitely wanted her to have an abortion, but she just wouldn't do it. So it clearly wasn't in his plans. But at the end of the day, you got to be more careful. It is what it is. If you get a chick like that pregnant, she gonna keep it. You are who you are. And that's something a lot of men need to pay a little bit more attention to. You are who you are. Women have always messed with productive men because productive men can do things for them that they don't see unproductive men being able to do. And hoes want the best of all worlds. I'm not going to even say the best of both worlds. They want the best of all worlds. They want a guy that they can get money off of. They want a guy that they can control. And this is why a lot of black men are going to have difficulty dealing with a black woman. She wants too much. You productive. You do something, in life to make things happen, but she still wants somebody she can control. It's hard to control the man who paying the lights. Okay? You paying the light bill every month. Hard to control you. You paying the mortgage every month. Hard to control you. If you paying the rent every month, hard to control you. So what does she need to feel okay? She has to find a man that she can punk out at the end of the day. So, like a lot of people have been saying these narratives about these unproductive men. Now, I understand the unproductive man has to give up his dignity because she wants somebody she can control, or at least she perceives her having the ability to control him. And a lot of them, they have to give up their dignity in order to deal with a woman like that. And they say super stupid stuff that don't make no difference at the end of the day. Because I've heard these men say, well, see, you got a problem because you had to pay for it and I didn't. Now, you just paid with your dignity. Money or dignity. Which one I'm gonna keep? If I got to lose one of two things, I can lose some money or I can lose my dignity. I'm gonna choose the money every time. So to me, it's just about how you're built as a man and how you see yourself as a man. Because I think a lot of men who live in that realm, they don't even see, they have really no idea about manhood at all. You know what I'm saying? Saying that you can sleep with some chick is not impressive when anybody can. It's just crazy to me. And shout out to Trust. I see you, sister. See you. How you doing? How you doing? Always great to see you. Always great to see you. Okay. Yeah. So the thing is, as men, we got to focus on, are we useful to the group or not? And if you become useful to the group, a lot of great things can happen. I'm gonna say, I do believe some of the backlash going on right now about Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler is they're being useful to the group, but they're doing it in a large way. And they ain't got a bunch of messy women problems going on. Michael B. Jordan has no confirmed girlfriend, even though after the Oscars, people are trying to make some Asian woman his girlfriend. I don't know nothing about that. I'm saying what people are trying to do. They're trying to make some Asian woman his girlfriend. Is that his actual girlfriend? Not that I'm aware of. Okay. Now, Ryan Coogler, he has a black wife. This is problematic for people because you got two black men who've been very successful. And even though I personally don't care about the Oscars like that, I know that's the big deal when it comes to most people in America. The Oscars mean something. And I've said to myself, that's like, you getting your Super Bowl championship. All these people did this thing for the year. And whatever it is, if you won something for, the lighting is important in movies, and boom, it's a big deal. And it might have been a black woman who won something. I forget what the black woman won for. It could have been in lighting, or it could have been in something else. I just don't remember right offhand. But at the end of the day, people get their championships. But you done got two clean brothers who just got championships, for the year. Best actor and best original screenplay. And now you got people coming at them for all kinds of stuff that don't even make sense. Ryan Coogler, like I said, is getting attacked for not having enough LGBT representation in centers, as if gay folks ain't got plenty of representation. And matter of fact, again, the way we're told, gay people run Hollywood anyway. So I don't even know why we coming at Ryan Coogler about it. And then, but he's married to a black woman. So a lot of folks, he's now problematic because he got too high. He won a quote unquote prestigious award. So we got to attack him. Then, you got to look at Michael B. Jordan, who he does not have a black wife at all. And some people just gonna see this as a problem. And, I don't know, I seen something about him dating some Asian woman. How would somebody even know this stuff, y'all? That's what I don't get. How do people even notice?
Creepy, kind of stalkerish, Stalkers.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say it ain't true because I don't know who the man dating, And I'm just gonna say it. To me, it looks like whoever he deals with, if they're a public person, maybe he's public about it, and if they're not a public person, maybe he's not so public about it, out of respect to the woman that he's dealing with. But people can't see that as him doing a good thing. Lori Harvey was already a public person. She was a public figure. So I can understand being public with that relationship. We have no other confirmed girlfriends that we know about this man. So maybe he's dating some people that just don't have a public lifestyle. And he's letting them stay in the private world, which is respectable at the end of the day. And I don't see no problem with it. I really don't see no problem with it. But see, you got black men who are being useful to the group. And now the thing is, you have the perception of black men who are being useful to the group. And unfortunately, because of how America works, if black men are useful to the group, they're supposed to be attacked. And I'm going to say, y'all, this happens basically with every black man who gets a good amount of limelight. There is no black man that I can think of in the history of America that I know about it who's got a certain amount of limelight and then somebody ain't trying to throw dirt on their name. Okay? Now, I'm from Chicago, so, they've been trying to throw dirt on Michael Jordan's name for a long time. It is what it is. Some lady came out of nowhere talking about he was the father of her child. He had to do a whole thing about that. I ain't gonna say the lady name because she don't deserve it, but that's what happens when you're a black man. You get a lot of light your way. It is what it is. A lot of folks say Michael Jordan is a cheater. Nobody ever confirmed that. So why he can't have a good, clean public image? Because ain't nobody ever confirmed that they was with Michael Jordan while he was cheating on his wife. Nobody ever did that. I feel bad for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The fact that they try to post-mortem destroy his reputation. And you know what? Black women, of course, are included in that. The man already dead. Why y'all can't leave that man alone? Yeah, well, I heard Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. wasn't faithful. You got no proof that he wasn't faithful. So my thing is, you just have an urge to believe that he wasn't faithful because you got no way of justifying it. What they got him on tape. They showed the tape to his wife, and his wife said, "That ain't my man." Now, if she said that ain't my man, what else? What I'm supposed to do at that point? But see, Coretta, that's somebody who was useful to the group. Okay. Now I get it. Some people say they don't like what Coretta did after he was dead, but I would tell you what, as long as Martin Luther King Jr. was alive, she was very useful to the group. She made a sacrifice for her man to be out there going, to and fro here and there across America, knowing that I'm going to be realistic. I'm pretty sure she knew he was going to die just like he knew he was going to die. I'm just realistic about that. I don't think neither one of them during that time really thought that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was going to have a retirement plan at some point. I'm pretty sure of that. But the thing is, we as men, we got to decide what we going to be and are we being useful to our group? Now, I'm going to say doing this channel, whether y'all believe it or not, I believe I'm being very useful to the group because I think black men need a place where we can come tell the truth and it be an actual truth. And we don't have to bow down to what everybody else wants to say. So, yeah, I done told y'all before, there's different reasons that I picked to go into media because I think media can have a great impact. And I do believe I do a good job of putting stuff out here for especially black people. Not that other people can't listen to it, but especially for black people. I think I'm very useful to our group. And I appreciate people that come on a regular basis. Even Great Black Reset, who coming up right now. I even appreciate him coming because I believe he's helping us be, he's helping this channel be useful to the group. And that's just real talk. So I'm going to go ahead and let him get the flow before I crack some real jokes on him. But go ahead, my brother.
I was going to say that's the nicest thing you ever said. Then you messed it up. You messed it up, man. I'm going to say first about...
That's important to the group.
about Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan in Sinners. I had forgot to say, the first time I watched that movie, what stuck out to me was how masculine that movie was. How masculine the characters were. The men were men and the women were women. And if the LGBTQ community, LMNOP community got an issue with it, so what? So what? I look at that as You're not even a regular person anyway, so you don't have that. You just don't. You know, I think men should present themselves as masculine at all times without apology. And no one involved in that movie needs to apologize for anything that they did when producing that movie. So that was one of the things that made it great.
What
And
Well,
uh,
let me just cut in and say this, and I apologize for cutting in an opening statement. I don't even think it was the group. I just think it was just individuals participating in white supremacy, and they was just using the LGBT community to attack some black men that they don't have nothing to attack about. I don't think it was the. I just think it was individuals. Their hatred of black men was just coming out, and they just used that as a way to hate on black men. But go ahead.
that's possible. That's possible. Um, Secondly, when it comes to being useful to the group, um, we as men, we shouldn't even look for uh, women, ideally, to be useful to the group. We need to focus on just us as men being useful to the group and being leaders of our community. And each man is responsible for finding a woman that is supportive of him. And whatever woman you choose and you marry, I trust that you made the right choice. You know, I really don't care what they do um, outside of being supportive of a black man, being the wife and the mother of the children for a black man. So, you know, that's just where I'm at with that, man. And I think our focus should be being productive, being efficient in our productivity, and figuring out how to be productive when we're giving back to the group. You should be willing to put more into the group than you're willing to extract from it, and that's going to make our environment better. You know, and we should be focused on community and what we do for one another as black men and how we hold one another accountable, how we support one another as black men and truly be a community to one another. I think if we focus on that, man, you know, the women that need to be with us, they'll fall in line. They'll fall in line. It don't matter what color she is.
Yeah. Well, I think the right women will show up for the right man. It's that simple at the end of the day. you know, and,
Correct.
and, and I'm going to say this, women have a great way to influence what the group does because, again, all she got to do is tell her husband about something she thinks needs to happen. That husband going to talk to other men, and then next thing you know, stuff starts happening. You know, but at the end of the day, you got to be somebody's wife if you believe what you have to say is important. Because we as men, we do a lot of stuff, and women are going to be our motivation in a lot of stuff. You might as well be realistic about it, and which is fine.
Correct.
You know, but as men, we should always be thinking about how to push our group forward. So, what are you going to do so you can be a good part of our group? And then once you get yourself together, how do you push the group forward? That's why it's good. And I would never discourage any black man from chasing a dream. Because at the end of the day, your dream may be the thing we need. Your dream might be a new invention. See, a lot of us, when we hear like a black man chasing a dream in today's world, they think about a black man, meaning he has to be a rapper, and they pretty much stop right there. They think about being a rapper. You know, I guess a few people who are slightly more elevated might say, well, it might be anything in entertainment. It could be an actor. It could be a ball player of some kind. And then some slightly more elevated people may think engineer, could be lawyer, could be doctor. You know, it just depends on how elevated you are mentally. Because it could be creating a new invention. It could be creating a new system that the world is going to use and apply to all types of stuff. Heck, could be building the top robot out here because that's what type of world we're living in right now. But robots are being developed. You never know how far a man wants to go. But I do believe we're supposed to encourage him to go after his dream. Now, if you can't make your dream happen, yes, at some point in time when you realize it's okay to slow down, then slow down. But you're supposed to go after that dream. There's no telling how many people need your dream to come true so they can do their dream. Dreams go together, y'all. Dreams go together. One person get a great invention off the ground, another person gets a great job as being the engineer. One person get this great invention off the ground, another person gets a great job as being the CEO. See, dreams can go together. We may not think about it that way, but they can go together. A lot of people can get in a lot better position because somebody had a dream and got their dream off the ground. And since black men seem to be the most innovative men in this country, we do need to encourage that, and we need the right kind of people around us that will help encourage us to go after said dream.
Agreed.
Agreed. Black inventors.
I think that men, black men in particular, man, we need to focus more on educating ourselves, and that's not necessarily college. Educating on how we need to be productive. We need to be focused on being productive. We need to get away from this foolishness that we've sold ourselves on entertainment and hustling and all this other kind of foolishness, bro. We need to get back to educating ourselves about being successful, being in groups of men saying, hey, I'm over here doing this, and this is what we're looking for as far as talent, and this is how much this is paying. Because every man that is out here being productive and keeping a roof over his head and clothes on his back and making sure his bills are paid is worthy, man. Every one of them, bro. It don't matter how much money you make.
All right. Shout out to There I Said. He said, please trust. MBJ is getting it popping during downtime. I think he is smart and learning about these quote unquote women. Hashtag vetting carefully. Okay. Shout out to There I Said. I guess he's talking about MBJ in the chat and Trust, who's also in the chat. So I don't know the context of that. But hey, brother, if you're learning the right thing, what you definitely doing over here, I'm just saying use it wisely, brother. Use it wisely. It's definitely good to get this information over here. That's for sure. And I'm going to just say shout out to Trust. Whatever this conversation y'all got going on, shout out to you, okay? I clearly appreciate her, y'all. That's the darling of the channel if y'all don't know. One of the greatest women that I've ever seen in this space. I'm going to just say that. And that's real talk. And I do mean that wholeheartedly. I love that woman, y'all. I love that woman. She good. She good. Okay. Now I'm gonna say yes. As productive men, y'all, we supposed to be working together. Now I'm gonna say shout out to Black Uru who did say that this not black men not working together is a new thing, which I very much believe because I never really bought into this world where black men don't work together because that ain't the world I grew up in. Because I had a daddy, my daddy was around other men. Okay, I seen black men work together on a regular basis. My people was in construction and whatnot. So I found out the house I grew up in. My daddy and his people they put all the stuff in there. They put the bedrooms. Well, they put the whole second floor in. I say that from what I know, they put the whole second floor in. All the bedrooms, the bathrooms, the den area, and all that. That was my father and his people. They did all that stuff. So guess what they was doing? Working together. Okay. I had a little cousin ran into a situation where when her and her husband had a home. Somebody was going to like $30,000 worth of fines that was going to have to be addressed. They said something to them. The men of our family got together in about 2 weeks. All her problems was taken care of. Okay. Her and her husband who got a house together that had some quote unquote issues that the city was trying to come down on her with. In 2 weeks, we had that whole place ready to go.
That's fantastic.
I'm not from a world where men don't work together. I'm just not. Okay. I told y'all I grew up. I had a brother who wanted to get in scouts, so we all had to get in scouts. That's just the way it was. He wanted us in. The rest of us didn't have no choice. My father became an assistant scout master just because we was doing it as a family. So, this world where black men don't work together, I ain't never really been in it. Ain't never really been in it. You know, to me, that's how you win. Okay, the more we work together, the more stuff we had that we gonna win it. All right. So I understand women don't want us to work together, but I do believe that's just white supremacy training. Whether they realize it or not, we as black men are not supposed to fall into it. All right. Some of the dumbest information I ever get come from white people. Okay, white people tell us don't work together. You know, the worst people to work with is your own family. Now I told y'all I done went into their buildings. I done went into their offices. You know who I see in there?
Family.
A
Hey,
whole
freaking
bunch
family,
of
secretary,
them. Yeah,
manager,
secretaries.
supervisor,
Yeah,
payroll.
secretary. You got a guy that owned a company. His brother-in-law, the vice president. His niece, the secretary. His wife in charge of payroll. You know what I'm saying? Like it's all kinds of family stuff going on. You know, and there's some families out here that made themselves some really really big names. Okay, that ain't because they ain't working together. That's because they are working together. You know, there's certain families that's in this country. Everybody basically know their name because their family has been working together for a long time. So I don't buy into that. You're not supposed to work together because it's gonna ruin y'all friendship. Look, if we can't make millions together, we ain't supposed to be friends. How about that? How
Or
about that?
family.
I
Yeah,
like it.
yeah. How about we make some money together? Don't friend. People like doing business with friends and family. That's a actual thing, y'all. They've done research. People like to work with their friends and family. So how good are we if we can't make no money together? You know. Now why I see a lot of better situations. I see a situation where a man he done got some management position, right? So what do? He hire a bunch of family and friends. And y'all know what happens? They work better together. Why? Because everybody has something more on the line. You know, you're not trying to fail yourself because your cousin brought you in. So if I look bad, not only do I look bad, I make my cousin look bad. Okay? And then guess else who you make look bad? You make somebody else's brother look bad. Cause see, you was a cousin of somebody and they brought you in, but that person got in because he was the brother of somebody else. And that person was the friend of somebody else. So you make the whole crew look bad because you want to be a failure. And it's like, okay, that's what we recruiting now. We recruiting trash folks. No, that's not real world. So don't buy into this black men don't work together. Okay. And if you have been buying into that, man, let that go. Cause you don't know what you're leaving on the table. I'm gonna just tell you that right now. You don't know what you're leaving on the table if you on some I can't work with them. Yeah, if you're gonna do that.
Can I add, Roger?
Say that again.
I want to add someone when we're done
Go ahead.
that, well, certain other cultures recognize the strength that a family member has, and they will help continue to help get them to get education in that area of expertise, so they may be valuable to the company that the family owns.
Agreed.
They nurture their talent and grow it. That's another form of legacy.
Absolutely.
I read about a certain group of individuals that we all know, but we don't say their names. They own so much stuff across this planet, and they got thousands of cousins. That they're all running it together. Why can't we be the same? We can have our black farms. We can have our industries. And if we can't even start one, we can put our heads together as a group or a collective to buy into these industries. So our families still reap the benefits off of the lapse of the people that took it off our backs.
Now, I'm gonna say shout out to Jerome Payne. He say whole family be in leadership and be unqualified. Well, you know what? As funny as that is, you can do that when the family been working together for so long. You can get away with stuff like that, you know. But I'm gonna say this, y'all. I'm pretty sure most of us have seen this at some level, because it ain't like you making something up. I'm definitely not gonna say you making something up. If other folks can do this, and we see they got family members in leadership positions that's just totally unqualified, well, why can't we be better than them? Because we actually can be qualified and put ourselves in leadership position, but we got to own the thing. That's the whole thing, y'all. We got to own the thing. Whatever the thing is, we got to own it. And we can start doing the same thing, except we'll put qualified family members in the leadership positions. But yeah, it's enough of them folk out there that you look at how they perform and you just had a thought. I don't know who it is, but I know he related to somebody. You know?
Look. I'm gonna have to disagree with you slightly. I'm gonna use the Uber rule here. If it's close, I got to go with my people, unqualified or not. if it's close, if I'm gonna hire somebody else, they got to blow my people out the water. If it's close, I'm going with my people.
I mean, ain't nothing wrong with that. Because I'm gonna definitely say the last thing you ever gonna find out here in these streets is an unqualified black man on a job site of any kind. That's just something you cannot find. You know. Now,
100%.
some white folks, I'm gonna say that's a little different. That is a little different. So the thing is, y'all, we can be very productive for our group, but we do got to really think about, are we useful to the group? You go to work so you can make things happen for yourself. I'm not saying don't make the personal stuff happen for yourself that you want to, but at some point we are supposed to spread it around. And when you spread it around to your children, to your cousins, to your nephews, your nieces, now we're empowering the group itself. So it's good to do for you, and I'm not saying you shouldn't do for you as a black man, because you gotta shine, because we got all these folks that's trying to get attention on the unqualified black men. The United States of America as a country is always trying to put the light on black men that do not qualify for stuff, when there's so many of us that do. Because again, if we don't get ourselves together, we end up dead, in prison, or homeless. There's literally no place to go for black men, and that's just real talk. You're gonna end up dead, in prison, or homeless. So if you're doing anything better than that, you're already on a good track. Let's just make sure we can make it shine a little bit more. And I'm gonna slow down real quick because we got our Ivy Leaguer in the building. We got Oprah is having my baby. It's back in the house.
You can keep talking, Roger. You got 5 more minutes, Roger. Just keep rolling.
Bro, I gotta give him credit for getting Oprah pregnant, period. Now. Because even Stephanie couldn't get that done. But Oprah's having my baby. You got the flow, my brother. You got the flow.
I appreciate you, Roger. Thank you. And I will say it takes a special ride, Roger. It takes a special ride.
I believe that.
So, and side note, before I begin, if you want to get a rich woman pregnant, what you guys need to do is take a bag of ecstasy, crush it up, and put it on your ride, and then you bang her raw. She's yours forever.
I might have to try that one.
Just crush up a bag of ecstasy, because see, the thing about drugs is there's many ways to ingest. You don't have to just ingest it through your vein or your mouth. It can be in your asshole, vagina. There's a lot of ways.
Oh Lord! Don't tell me you're testing it out personally. Don't. Oh my God.
So, anyway, so that's just a side note. Now, getting back to the useful to the group. Well, Roger, I think. And see, this is the thing, man. I see you confuse me a lot of times because I'm getting a lot of mixed messages. First, you say we should be useful to the group, but then
Mm-hmm.
you up here enjoying winter and shit, and so it's just like just anyway. I think the first step of being useful to the group is first we gotta purge niggas out. Like GBR, he gotta get purged. That nigga just gotta be purged. That's the first thing, and then the second thing, and we talked about this before. The only time black people can really work together is when they're oppressed. So if you want black people to work together, you got to pay white people to oppress them harder. Because when black people don't feel oppressed, they're not going to work together. They're just not.
Now, I'm gonna say I do remember you saying something like that beforehand. Now, I'm gonna say this. Yes, they have worked together during oppression. That's for sure. Can't deny that. Can't deny that at all. Can we work together without being oppressed? I'm gonna say we can. I do think that at this particular point, though, a lot of us do buy into the white supremacy nonsense, which means a white person has to be in charge. So you can't have groups of black people who believe that they're not supposed to really make no decisions. Is gonna go against what white men say, and I think black women have kind of bought into that wholeheartedly, which is why I do believe black men need to really accept a leadership role in the black community and stop looking at the black community through the eyes of women. Because I think once you look at through the eyes of women, you're gonna go in a white supremacy direction. I don't see how you can't go in a white supremacy direction, looking at stuff through the eyes of a woman.
Yeah,
And
but
go ahead, go ahead.
oh well, I no finish reading it because I wanted to say something else.
All right.
So,
And shout out to Landon. He said on that Viltrumite tip, purge first. Now I'm just
yeah.
gonna say real talk, y'all. Before you purge, you gotta identify who should be purged versus who shouldn't be purged. That has to go into play. All right, go ahead, brother.
See, because I mean, look. When we look, like, I always thought that music was a great barometer of the health of the black community. So, so for example, like if you would rank the best music that was ever produced by black people, or the most let me change it, the most powerful, the most moving music that black people produce. The first is Negro spirituals during slavery time. Master was cracking that whip on that back. You can't find more powerful music on the planet than the Negro spiritual. Then after that, you got civil rights. Again, powerful music. Powerful music. Then you got rap. And what is rap's heyday? The 1990s, right? The aftermath of Reaganomics and the tail end of war on drugs. Right? Amazing, amazing hip hop. The great, amazing hip hop and R&B. Right? Now look at today. We're post first black president. We're post decentralization of work, right? You can work from home. You got technology and things like that, right? And look at the music, right? We got niggas wearing dresses, niggas wearing nail polish. Look at the music. It's a barometer for let you know the temperature and where Black America is. And for that reason, I'm telling you, we're conditioned in the way that oppression we when oppression happens we band together, and that's why white supremacy has changed. That's how white supremacy has moved to feminism, right? White supremacy has moved away from outright oppression because they learned.
Let me say, you're making a pretty decent argument. Okay, I can't say the stuff that you're saying ain't real. Now the thing is though, do we have to choose to be that way? Because I mean, yeah, people are gonna band together during tough times. That's just the way it is. You have earthquake or something like that. People band together because it's really necessary at those times. Extreme times calls for extreme solutions. So I do get that. But at this particular point that we got a little more freedom, we can buy into ourselves or we can buy into what white people tell us. That's where I see it. We can buy into ourselves or we can buy into what white people tell us. Now, at the end of the day, who's going to look out for me more than a black man is?
A lot of people, because niggas ain't looking out for you.
See, I can't say that. I can't say that. And when I'm in trouble, it's going to be a black man to get me out of it.
Wow.
I.e., my father. I've been in financial trouble. Who got me out of it? Dad.
Well, family doesn't count. We're talking about non-family. Because if you're talking about family, then yeah, okay, I agree with you. Family. But that's universal.
Okay, well, if you in trouble in your family, I ain't getting you out of who is going to get you out? I ain't never heard of who gets you out of something other than family.
Friends, relationships. People you work with for years,
I mean, I can see friends. I can see that. You got a strong relationship with somebody, y'all have known each other for a good period of time. Yeah, I can see friends helping to a certain degree, But the world I come from, you get in some trouble, you got to get out of it yourself. Is that not real world?
Well, I mean,
you got to get out of it yourself.
But then how useful are you to the group, right? Because we're talking about group of community, right? Black men working together, meaning going beyond the family.
Well, I think we need to have we do need to be in a position where we can help each other a little bit more. Because, like I said, I can see friends helping to a certain extent, because black folks have been, quote unquote, impoverished. That's been a real thing. But, people could give their time to help correct the problem. And we have done things like that over time. Now, I can't argue that we didn't do it more when we were being more oppressed, because that's a very real thing. Oppression can create a real response because it's just absolutely necessary at that particular time.
Right.
But are we saying that we can't do it without oppression? Because that's saying a whole lot.
I'm going to say we can't because we haven't. Right? I'm going to say we can't because we haven't.
I find that to be untrue. I think there are black men that are doing some amazing things today without oppression. They're just not. We don't.
No, I'm not talking about
because in the environment in which we live in the culture.
I'm not talking about the individual. What? I'm not talking about the individual. So let me clarify my point. I am not talking about the individual because individually, yes, we still do amazing things today. What I'm saying is, like, so for example, right, during Reconstruction, there were black ran towns, right? Completely black ran towns. There was over 150. How many complete black ran towns there are today that were created and founded by black people? Not many. How many billion black billionaires are there? There's like 10 or 20, more than there were in the past. Individually, black people are much more successful today and in the past. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about the collective, right?
Okay, the collectively, more than 50% of us are the middle class and better.
But that's not working together. That's not working together. That is
no. We're talking about the collective group, right? So I'm saying in the collective group,
that's not working together, sir. That's not working together.
No. I'm making a point.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm making a point. I'm saying that more than 50% of us are quote unquote successful when you count on average, median, and stuff like that. I think it's a good starting point. I think one of the things that we need to do, we need to have an action plan as to how to be successful, right? One of the things that we need to do as men, as young men, we need to put music and television down completely. You need to replace all that time that we listen to music, and in the age of information, we need to at least be on YouTube University learning new skills, learning new things, putting together a game plan as to how our future is going to be. And for the average black man that doesn't know what he's wanting to do or doesn't have a spelled out game plan, I think Roger came up with one that was beautiful. The average black man should go to the military. After he gets out the military, he should get his CDLs.
So
Well, by the time you go
oh,
ahead,
no, go ahead,
go ahead.
finish. No, no,
No,
no, finish.
by the time you have gone to the military, done your 8 years, whether you do 4 or 8, and by the time you get your CDLs, you're in position to make some pretty good money. Man, you can buy a home prior to getting married, and damn near pay cash for it. That's a good start. Like we need actionable information that we can pass down to these young fellas so that they can put themselves in a better position and they're in position to work together to build better communities, businesses, and so forth and so on.
So okay, so again, I'm gonna I disagree with you. Black people do not need to know how to be successful. Black people know how to be successful individually. The fastest group of growing millionaires in America right now are African Americans, right?
Okay.
The fastest
Yes.
growing group of people, the blue collar, are African Americans. But that's not working together. What I mean by working together is how many black institutions do we have? How many black banks do we have, what is the percent of the black population that's banking with them? How many black
Okay.
towns do we have outside of what is that in DC? I forgot the county. What is that? Prince George County in Texas, the little enclaves there. I'm talking about working together because individual success, yes, individual success. We know how to do it. We're more successful individually now than we ever were in the history of America. But when we're talking about collectivism,
Hmm.
institutions, and things like that, we have fallen behind.
Okay, I can agree with you. I can agree with you there. So what do we do to become more of an institutional success? What would be the game plan for that?
Get white people to start oppressing niggas.
Yeah, cut that nigga's mic off. Cut this
I'm
nigga's
serious.
mic off.
What you say? What's
This
that last comment? What you say?
cut this nigga want to go back into slavery.
No, no,
That's
not
what he
what you
said.
said. What he said. I
I
heard you.
said, I said, get white people to be overtly racist to niggas again, and then you'll have your collectivism.
I mean, but
Th-
what would
th-
be, what would be the point of that? Because if you give them open oppression, what we do ain't
he,
gonna
he
help no way.
he's basically saying that adversity, we operate better and we work better collectively when we're under great adversity.
But no,
Absolutely.
and I'm gonna say adversity makes people shine more. It always has and always will. You know what I'm saying? So, but when it comes down to it, what's the point of adversity if it's just gonna put you right back in the same spot?
Well, no, it doesn't. So it doesn't. When we look at slavery, no, no, okay. When we look at white supremacy initiatives to oppress black people, for the most part, it has failed every time. Right? When you made, so for example, redlining, when you made black people start living together, what happened? The dollar started circulating, and you had un- there was lower unemployment rate in black communities than there were in white communities. When you segregated baseball and sports, right? The Negro League was outselling the baseball league, right? It was more entertaining. Every time a white supremacist initiative happened, there was unintended consequences that always benefited us. Even with education, when when we couldn't go to white colleges, right? We created our own colleges and the in all in all of the best technology when it came out of where all of the best technology when it came to agriculture came from black colleges.
So you're saying the oppression is gonna put pressure on us to get the best out of us. That's what you're saying,
And
right?
that's why white people stopped doing it.
Roger, I've said this time and time again. I'm gonna say this again. niggas are addicted to white supremacy. They don't want to live without it.
We need it. We need it. We need it.
Niggas don't want to live without it.
Black people in America as a collective. Because hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. For all the people who said I'm a cool, I'm telling you this right now. Individually, the fastest growing group of millionaires in America are black people. The largest growing middle class is black people. Black people on an individual level has been more successful now than in the history of America. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about institutions and collectivism. Back during Reconstruction, over 100 black towns with extremely low unemployment rate. There are less than 50 black towns now with high unemployment rate. No
This
technology, no thought provoking stuff has came out of Black America in the last 50 years. During oppression, you had the cotton gin, you had the press, you had all types of technology and patents coming from black people when they were forced to be together.
This nigga is campaigning to be the Grand Wizard of the KKK. This is what's happening here.
Well, I'm gonna say this. I hear you, but wouldn't it be more reasonable to say for black people, maybe we just need to get some black towns again? Because we built hundreds of towns that did get destroyed.
Yeah.
If we're gonna be real about it, we did build hundreds of towns that did get destroyed because white supremacy understands we don't need to be working closely together, or we're gonna outshine them.
Right. So they destroyed the towns and then they destroyed the towns and introduced integration because they said, "Oh, this segregation shit don't work."
Yeah, I get you there, but rather than promoting oppression, wouldn't the proper response be to promote
segregation?
Elected segregation, and we create some more black towns.
No, because you always got those five niggas on the side. No, because those five niggas on the side are going to mess it up.
I mean, so we got to have perfect people because I mean, every group of people gonna have they niggas on the side.
You just gotta have listen. When you
hot sauce gonna be nigga number one. Talking about Master, you see what they doing over here? They don't need to be doing that.
When the enemy is clear, production is the mission is clear. When the enemy is ambiguous, now the mission becomes ambiguous.
I mean, but that is moving very responsive when we don't necessarily have to be responsive. We can just set our own direction.
You know what, Roger? I'm like 5 minutes away of like coming back to America and getting y'all niggas right. Cause I might just have to get call up some KK. You know what? Let's hit the button, man. Spray these niggas with fire hoses. Kick them out of international schools.
This nigga right here is paying his tithes with the sons of the Confederacy, man. I promise you.
You gotta look. The best thing that could ever happen to you in 2026 is for us to bring back that level of oppression. Niggas will stop wearing dresses. I tell you that. That dress get gone. Black fingernail polish gone.
All right. Don't be talking about Roger quarterback like that.
You know, matter of fact, I'm gonna prove something to you right now. Roger, you're the only one that's congratulating me about having a baby. You see how these niggas is? You gonna work together and I can't even get congratulations on my kid.
All right, let me we got two new guests here. We got Bad Black Gamer here, and we got Black Rule here. I'm gonna give Black Rule the mic first because of the elder privilege, and then we'll give it to Bad Black Gamer right after him. Go ahead, Black Rule. How you doing, brother?
Hey, Roger, how are you? I hope you're doing well. I hope the folks in the chat are good also. And obviously, hope the brothers on the panel are good. I guess I come in on the question of whether or not black men can work together. Is that like that seems to be something that you guys are debating or debating the circumstances in which that can occur? But
We
am
we
I
we de- we,
right?
we debating on whether we should go back to slavery because that's what this thing is talking about.
One of us believe we
Yeah,
need
I
to be
mean, I
oppressed to
did
get it
kind of
together.
hear it was kind of moving back in the separate but equal direction, which was interesting given what all the other stuff that came along with that historically. So I'd have to, we'd have to have a long conversation about whether or
No,
not that would be a
hold on. They
force that would.
misrepresented me. All I said is that if you want black men to work together, you have to apply that type of pressure. If that type of pressure is not being applied, you can't have black men working together. That's what I'm saying.
No, don't walk it back now. You said oppress them
That is
niggas. That's what
exactly
you
what I'm
said.
saying.
I heard
That's
you.
exactly what
I
I'm saying.
put them niggas under oppression. That's what he said.
No, I see the inference, the logical inference that you're drawing there, reset, and it appears to be an appropriate one. Um, you know, to me, as I'm often inclined to say, things are just so complex. It's to say or to infer or imply that black people just through the course of their own behavior or conscious or decision making cannot aptly work together uh, is not only a historical, but it also requires you to avoid um, a lot of of delving into the particulars of why many great endeavors between and amongst black men have failed, which the greatest of which were almost always interdicted by outsiders. The Panthers, the myriad towns and villages, and all the businesses and school systems therein. Those things did not go away. All those black towns did not go away because black men could not work together. You know what I mean? So,
Yep.
now we have newer sets of issues now because so many of us have been raised outside of the direction auspices of a man, and especially their fathers. You do have some other issues now between and amongst us, and sadly, amongst many of the younger of us who are several generations from, seeing a dad leave for and arrive from work every day, you know. So that's a whole different kind of thing that today, there are internal issues that would preclude black men being able to aptly work together. But not just not just because it's in our genes or because it's some thought or inclination that we just want to sabotage each other. It's a lot of second guessing, a lot of fear, a lot of sometimes unconscious sabotage that occurs very often in large part because of fear of what can and very often does happen when black men get together and make a public show of their getting together. People start doing stuff historically. People start doing stuff. So let's not leave that part out of this conversation. I guess I'll end my
So,
opening statement there.
I wanna see, and Roger, this is a great example of why black people can't work together, because Great Black Reset was not being honest. Because first of all, I recognize the excellent achievement, individual achievements that black people have made, and I even said black people are way more successful today than they ever were. And what I was talking about is the collectivism, and also I said that I also recognize that these places were destroyed, and after they were destroyed, white people offered integration after that, so we don't outcompete them. You see, but Great Black Reset over there, all he just said was, "Oh, put them back into slavery." When I was much more articulate, much more detail oriented, and my synapses were there. And he even said, I understand on the institutional. But then when other niggas got around him, what'd he do? Shit me out to sell. See? Perfect example. And that's why in the beginning I said purge is number one because we need to purge his black ass.
The devil got a silver tongue, nigga. The devil got a silver tongue. He made it sound real good that he gonna put you niggas back in slavery. That nigga gonna be a house nigga tomorrow. Nah, so they ain't working. They ain't working, boss.
Roger, did I lie? Roger, did I lie?
I
Roger,
can't say
did I
you
lie?
lied. I'm gonna say that. I can't say you lied. I can't say he lied. He's doing the job right now. He's doing the job. I cannot say he lied.
He gonna be over there to myself. I ain't nice like boss.
All right. Shout out to Landon. He say, but our mothers taught us never to listen to black men. And you know what? I'm gonna say that is something we definitely gonna have to get past. You know, and I'm being honest about that. Collectively, if we want better, this whole don't listen to black men thing, we really heard some women tell us don't listen to wisdom. Don't listen to somebody who's been through it before you went through it. Why? So you can go through it too. That's one of the dumbest things that has really been. Well, go ahead, and then we get bad black gaming right after you. Go ahead.
Well, the current turmoil in the Middle East and even throughout the Trump's current presidency is a master class for why it's important for black men, all men or all groups of people, but including especially black men, rallying together amongst their own. We see a lot of things happening, or we're being exposed and being put at risk for terrible things happening, perhaps even to family members of ours. I'm sure most of us have a nephew or a grand cousin or whatever who's in the military right now, and or maybe she, but really the folks who are more likely to get hurt will be men. And I look at that as, Trump had a gang, they gang together, and they ganging together. And they can do whatever they choose to do to the tune of trillions of dollars for their gang. And at a certain point, you have to look at it and say, you really have no shot. I mean, whether you can thwart what they're doing, I mean, that's very improbable. But man, you don't really have a shot of surviving in what's happening in this current world over the long term if you're not linked up. Because as things tighten up and become more precarious and dubious as to how the resources going to flow, what's going to be the value of the dollar, you're going to have to be able to have some human resource where the shortages of when they're monetary, material, in some cases even nutritional shortages, you're going to need to link up, and you're going to need to have a code or a sort of coded group of which black men would and should have to form a coded group. Now, how do you do it, and then how do you enforce it? Who leads it? That's where those are, like you say, the devil in the details, and that's something maybe we should talk about more in these kinds of environments.
After Black Gamer goes, I'll respond to that a little bit as far as the logistics of how I think we could do that.
All right, Bad Black Gamer, what you got for us, brother?
Hey, good morning, fellas. Happy Monday to you. Salutes to the chat. Salutes to the panel and salutes to you, Roger. Hopefully my sound is okay over here.
Sound great, brother. Sound great.
All right, good. I'm not
Sound
going to
good,
be
bro.
on here too. Yeah, I'm not going to be on here too long, but I did want to address something right quick. I think we look at this kind of in the wrong way. In particular, regarding what Hassel said. I think. Let me get to it. I think when addressing Black people, we always say that we start from behind the starting line that everybody else start from. So because of that, we have to run faster and work twice as hard to get twice as much. But I think we should really look at it from the perspective that we're really just great. We're really just better than everybody else. We're really just more talented than everybody else. Like, no matter what we do, we always find a way to be the best at it, no matter what it is, whether it be sports, whether it be science, whether it be technology. Whether it be war, whether it be fighting wars. Like, if you look at our history, it was the Buffalo Soldiers that, came in this country and fought off the Indians and allowed the Europeans to take over. You know what I'm saying? We've won every war that we won because of Black folks. You know what I'm saying? Any sport that we take up, we automatically become number one in it. You know, so you look at George Washington Carver. You know what I'm saying? Inventing all the stuff just from freaking peanuts. I think at some point we just got to start looking and say, hey, look, we actually just the best. We actually better than everybody. And if the world would just take their foot off our throat, we would be able to thrive. But it's because the world keeps putting their foot on our throat, that's actually what's holding us back. Because they want to put us in chattel slavery and all that other stuff. Because they want to persecute us. You know what I'm saying? That's what holds us back. I think Black men work great together. I think it's the world that's trying to keep us from not working great together and from being great individually and together. So I think we should look at it more from that perspective instead of looking like, we need to be oppressed in order to strive, to achieve to adversity. No, if we didn't have adversity, we would just simply be great. But we should look at even with adversity, despite of adversity, we still find ways to be great. So I think that's kind of how we should look at it. I think we're just great people. And I think the world knows that. And I think that's why everybody in every corner of the world kind of hates us or shows us racism. But I'll land my plane there.
Oh man, that's pretty good.
That's a pretty good point. Good point.
I think the logistics of it is now we're in the age of information. We're in the social media age. We're in the age of IT exploding. So whereas we were being held back by like some of the curriculum we had because we didn't have the same books and all this other kinds of stuff, it's not so much so now. So all the information is available to us. The ability to learn is available to us. What we need to do as Black men, we need to focus on being marriage-minded and producing families. And we need wives that are going to stay home and teach our children. See, that's how you get separation when it comes to education, is homeschooling. And you can have your own quote-unquote schools. You can have 10, 20 students in one house. Who's going to stop you from doing it? When you homeschool it. And you can have your Black children being homeschooled. And they can, when they come out of high school and they graduate from high school and stuff like that from being homeschooled, they will explode onto the scene in whatever industry that they go into, or whether they go into college, as the most intelligent, as the best at what they do. When we school ourselves, we find out when we go into the working world that we're better prepared, more intelligent, and have more understanding than those around us. That's happening right now with the Black Manosphere Conclave, with Theo Webb teaching IT. I get reports every week of these brothers on these jobs get there and they're surprised, like, man, these cats don't know nothing. Yeah, exactly.
Think about the women that helped the rocket program. We never would have got to the moon without those Black women doing that now.
Exactly. We are outdated. We're outdated. This is the age of technology. This is the age of AI. This is the age of robotics. This is the age of nationless borders. This is the age of token economies. That homeschooling stuff, the agriculture stuff, I still will say, okay, yeah, you have a point there. But if you're not building communities in the digital world, if you're not creating currencies, digital currencies and things like that, you're lost, because that's tokenization it's here and it's moving forward. So at the end of the day, man, all this talk about exclusion, living on like some old dirt road and some crazy like creepy crap like that, it's not going to work now. You're going to be left behind.
Who said that?
You
No, I didn't. I
with
didn't say that.
homeschooling and all that, right? So
We
at the
just
I
end
don't
of
didn't.
you
the day,
understand that every time we uncover something, we find out like some new
I,
technology, some new idea comes out. It was some black man or some black woman behind it. Like every time.
man,
yeah,
listen.
but we don't control it though. That's the problem. We don't
We
Hot
control
don't
sauce.
it.
because they steal it from us, but that doesn't mean that
Hot, hot,
we're not contributing.
hot sauce is a white
The
supremacist, man. You
conversation,
gotta understand
the
this.
You
conversation
know,
is
I
not
I,
about
ha- I have a
contribution.
theory.
Hold on, the conversation is not about
I have a
contribution.
theory.
The conversation is about collectivism.
I'm gonna get back to it. Let Uru get
I,
in, and
I
I'm gonna
have
get
a
back to it.
theory that will sound ironic, but I earnestly believe this to be true. I think as we go into the future, the technology will be less important than the quality of people. I think there will come a day, ironically, I think it's going to come sooner rather than later, where a humanity degree is more valuable than an IT degree. An art degree will be more valuable than an IT degree. In a world that will be dominated by technology, the only advantage you have, the only leverage you have, will be how human you are and how connected to and related to your humanity, and the humanity of the other people, because that will be the only chance you'll have to stand up against the machine and the people who own it, run, and control it. Because you won't, as smart as you are, you won't be able to outthink their AI. You won't be able to get the resources, anything anywhere near comparable to that, where you'd be able to get any sort of economies of scale to gain any sort of advantage against. We're on the course of a few people becoming trillionaires in a couple of years. How do
Right.
you ever just flat out tech those folks? You can't
You're not.
out tech those folks.
You're not
You
wrong.
know,
You're not
so
wrong.
I think I foresee a future of humanity where uh, where consciously the best of us will become something extra. It may even manifest in certain forms of telepathy, or at the very least empathy, the ability to interpret, to read, to feel. Because again, in an environment where the machines and the billionaires own and run everything, the only chance you have is to maximize your humanity. That's the
You're not.
only chance you have. And
You're
to
not
help
wrong.
other humans maximize their humanity.
You're not wrong, because we already see it now, right? We already see that a philosophy degree is now more in demand than a computer science degree, right? Because pretty much AI can take over entry level coding, and now they're looking for philosophy majors to teach AIs to be more human, right? And then also, so yeah, humanity degrees are actually becoming more and more popular as we become more and more digital as a race, right? But we've also, so you're not wrong there. But what I'm saying again is that the collectivism, right? Like, how are we, not as the individual but as the group, are going to fare?
Uh, I'm, I'm,
Yeah,
I'm, I'm,
hold
t-
on, hold on. We got
Well, it's easier to teach collectivism, if I can quickly. It's easier to teach collectivism when mama and daddy are together and love and care for each other and love and care for their children, which will invite other groups of people who think and live the same way. That's how you form and maintain and build a collective. That's how humans have always done it.
Then we're dead because you're not going to find we're dead because America doesn't make lives anymore.
all right. Now, real quick, Inspired You is here, so I want to let him get the mic. You got it, my brother. We'll get you in right after GBR. I heard you about to say something, so we'll get you in right after.
Okay, good day to the guys, to the brothers on the panel. Good day to the folks in the chat. I hope everything's going well, and I hope y'all can hear me, even though I'm
Yes,
out here in
sir.
the street. All right, so there's a lot going on there with the conversation that really needs to be dived into. All right, everybody has a point. Black Guru has a point. Hot Sauce has a point, but you have like points in different ways. Like you have a game of Monopoly, and as the game progresses, you're not in somebody in your competition owns 70% of the board, 80% of the board, 90% of the board. It accelerates to the point where eventually, like, more adversity is not going to solve your problem. It's not going to make it to where you can actually win the game. You're going to need a different game if you're going to actually call yourself doing anything that's in any way some sort of progress. On the other side of things, there's this concept called accelerationism, where if you can just get things to be worse, then it'll spur people to action to where they actually change systems and structures and make things effectively better. Like you don't have people move and take action if they're not uncomfortable. So there's something to that, but that's what's being presented is accelerationism, but in a regressive way. So I get where the intellectual concept is trying to go, but it needs to go off onto like that ramp because it's going in the wrong direction. You got to take that off ramp somewhere to get back on track. In terms of where we are right now today, like it's not just an either or, it's a both and. It's the dissolution of family structure. That's a part of it, but it's also the hyper individualism that we're seeing that's causing the lack of working together to move things forward. And I'll land my plane there. It's not an either or, it's a both and.
One of the reasons why you would want your wife to homeschool, as Reset references, is that you can better position your family to teach to the children the ethics and the importance of being wives and husbands and being proper stewards of communities and appreciating and working with and being able to aptly leverage the talents of other people and appreciate and respect that. You can much more easily do that within a family than you can within a public school system. So, I mean, Reset point, I get what your response was. You're looking at it from a sort of somewhat of a macroscopic standpoint. But my perspective is that if you view it from the standpoint of building a collective, well, what would be necessary to build a strong collective? Well, that would be one of the things that you would do. You know, for a period of time, we homeschooled our daughters, but we did it in the form of a consortium with other parents. And one of the women who had been a school teacher, she kind of pretty much administered it. I mean, we, of course, all were involved with it, but she kind of administered it. We sort of paid her a certain amount of money to do that. And it was Christian based, you know, we can debate whether you want religion to be involved with it.
I knew you was a good man. I knew you was a good man all along. I knew it.
One day we're going to have a talk about my religious views, because I think I kind of oversimplified to some degree what I mean very often. But it taught our daughters a lot of things. Obviously, it for one, it taught them to be independent learners, and they both did well, graduated, school, whatever, doing very well for themselves. But also, we could pass on certain ethics and comportment, how to be ladylike and proper attire and things of that nature, as well as that sort of thing. And maybe my older daughter, got married in part because of some of the lessons that she learned in that program. I think she did actually, in some ways. So, I think again, if there is some super monster that's coming down on you, the only, in which is what Hot Sauce appears to describe, the only chance you have is to stand together. You're not finessing that monster by yourself. You're not smart enough, strong enough, fast enough, capable enough, prophetic enough. You're gonna get ate like everybody else.
I agree with him on that point. I agree with you, Hot Sauce. I agree with you, Hot Sauce, on that point.
I want to say something really quickly. So the thing about it, because the homeschool thing is not a bad idea, but the thing about it is, man, it's like planning, right? What resources do you have? You don't have you African Americans do not have black women who are willing to stay home and be moms and do homeschooling. We don't have that. We don't have that resources. We don't have enough of that in abundance. We don't, if we're going to be honest. The second point to talk about, like, we're going in the wrong direction. Well, no, we're not, because history has proven me right. Every culture has the same, right? Every saying that
I'm gonna respond to that.
hard times build strong men, and hard times build strong men, and good times build weak men. I mean, there's just all these kind of colloquial sayings all said throughout history with that. When we look at white supremacy in the lens from start to beginning, or not even look at white supremacy, when we look at groups of people who are oppressed, at some point they band together, like Black Rule just said, to overcome. And one of the things you do if you want to constantly oppress people, you want to oppress them in a fashion where they don't feel oppressed. And
I think you
just
missed. I think you missed what I was saying. You're in an accelerating game. Like what might have worked previously ain't going to work anymore because you're further down along in the game.
I promise it'll work. It'll work every time.
He's responding more to what I said earlier before you came up.
I'm responding to him because he's saying that if you would oppress people today like we did back then, it wouldn't work. And I say I disagree 1,000%.
Hot sauce, you know what?
Let me ask this question. Let me ask this question. If there is a draft, do you think that would provoke some reform, some real reform?
Yes.
Because a draft would qualify as oppression.
Yes,
definitely
I would. Definitely now, when America is absolutely vehemently against this war in Iran, and then they start drafting, especially because I read that the draft is between 18 and 35, and in some cases it can go up to 40. In some cases, absolutely.
So hopefully that won't be what it takes, but yeah.
Well, here's the thing: if we as black men recognize that we're already in some type of oppression, maybe we'll move forward. But you're negating some of the things.
He's talking, but we ain't listening.
I thought it was me.
No, that's him.
I thought that was me too. I thought it was my connection.
Yeah, that's definitely him. Well, I'm gonna say that. I mean, when it comes down to it, again, it's easier to shine when you in this quote unquote oppressed state. You know, if a person come into a basketball game and there's only 6 minutes to go and you score 20 points, that 20 points gonna shine a lot more than 20 points spread over the basketball game if you was there from the beginning.
It just looks different at the end of the day.
Right. I mean, because I just want to say something, right? If we look at the collectivism in the past and we look at the collectivism now, there's a stark difference. And yes, we were sabotaged. Yes, white supremacy took it over. But what nobody is mentioning is this: when white supremacy sabotaged Oklahoma, Black Wall Street, when white supremacy flooded the places in Florida, they also offer you an opportunity to live amongst them. That is the other part of the equation. And that's why it wasn't rebuilt a second time. Because they didn't say, I'm going to drown you, F you, do this all over again. No. They drowned the town, they blew up the town and say, hey, okay, we're going to introduce integration.
Well, that's why I said earlier, wouldn't it just be a better idea just to have more black towns again, as an election rather than as a response to anything?
But people want to live around white people.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we hear you now.
Yeah, here.
And another
All right.
hold on. You just said we want to live around white people. Is that what you just
Black
said?
people want to live around white people. Not you, not
Listen.
you, but black
Hot
people
sauce.
want to live white people.
Hot sauces debate.
Can you be? Hold on. He's making a statement. We need to interrogate.
That nigga don't
Are
never
you
stop
saying
making statements.
all black people? Are you saying all black people?
Majority.
Or certain groups of black people? Because, like, I know so many different groups and generations of black people, and I promise you, they have very different views on that sort of
Okay,
stuff.
so let me. Okay, so from Generation X down, how about that? Generation X down.
We're still hyper. We're still segregated.
No, I would say a smooth 55%. Generation X down wants to live amongst white people. That is a sign of
You know the people I have observed who resent white people the most, like revile them the most.
It's not Generation X. It's not Generation X.
Look, let me finish my point. They're often the most educated, the most accomplished. You haven't been in America, so I don't know what you see, but attend some dinner parties with some uppity Negro types, and put a few drinks in it, right?
Where do they live?
And they mostly live in black communities. They live in good black communities, particularly. See. Hold on now, because you're talking about something, but you don't know what you're talking about. Because there are plenty of areas, particularly in the Chicagoland area. I happen to live in one of them that feature a majority of black people of household incomes of plus six figures. Lots of them, and those are
Same in
majority
Atlanta.
black communities.
So first of all, let's listen to what I said. We want to live, not that we do. We want to live. So before you say
that's not true, because all the people,
you gotta listen.
All the people I know, no, because you're talking some bullshit. Because all the people I know could easily, buy homes. They could easily buy homes. They could easily buy homes in white communities.
Listen.
All right. Yeah,
All
we
the
gotta hear his
people I
point,
know
Black
can
Fool.
easily buy homes in white communities.
But Black Fool, we gotta hear his point. We gotta hear his point if we're gonna rebut it. We gotta hear it.
Right? You can't rebut it. So first of all, before y'all hit me with we're segregated, I said want to live. I actually do live. Number two, there's groups of people that live in affluent black areas all over America. Mount Airy, right? Mount Airy is one. West Oak Lane is one in the Philadelphia area, right? Prince George County is one in the Washington D.C. area. Nobody is ignoring that. But what I'm telling you is that I would say that from Generation X onward, 55% of Black America would love to live around white people.
How you gonna quantify that? Like seriously, like that lives in somebody's head.
Yeah.
What somebody wants
Hey,
lives in their
How do
head.
listen.
you quantify and
You
how
pulled
do
black
you
holes out,
prove,
motherfucker.
Professor Xavier?
I'm
How do you prove, Professor Xavier, that it's in the heart? Do you get put on Cerebro and telepathically link with all the Negro minds throughout America
Roger,
to
I'm
divine
Roger,
I'm
the
trying.
Roger,
depths of their desires
can you
to
pull
be
the chat?
amongst white
I'm
people?
trying. I'm trying to warn y'all. This nigga's strategy today is
Roger,
to
can you
use more words than
pull?
everybody else. He thinks
Roger,
he's gonna win by using more words, and everybody else
Roger,
is
you
just
know how to
gonna
pull
relate.
the? Can you pull the chat? Can you pull the chat? Can you pull the chat and ask them?
This
Pull the chat and ask them.
this he refuses to be wrong, bro. He
No,
thinks if he uses more words, he just gonna be right, and he
no,
ain't gonna let nobody
I
else have
acknowledge that.
a point.
All right,
I
let
mean,
me say
with all due respect, Hassel, let me get this out. I mean, because I respect your opinion, but brother, you haven't even lived as an adult black man in America. You haven't lived in communities of black people in America. You haven't worked with them. You haven't played with them, attended church services with them, partied with them. I mean, no disrespect to you. You're entitled to your opinion. I'm not saying you're not entitled to your opinion. I just don't. It don't conform with the reality of what I have actually lived my 40 plus years of adult blackhood in America. I have not lived in China. I would never debate you about how people get down to China. I would never even at all attempt to do that.
I have a
But for you to say not living here, let me finish. Not living here, not interacting here with people in this actual country, in this actual environment, that most of us, okay, most of the younger ones of us, want to live with white people. Again, how do you prove that? How do you
Generation X is
empirically support that argument?
so Generation X is in their
hold,
50s.
hold on before you go.
Yeah.
Let me say this. There was somebody from London. Wait a minute. I gotta see what the name is. It was a gentleman that was trying to get on, saying he was from the UK. I was about to let you on, but you disappeared right before I got to you. So if you want to come on, that's fine. You're welcome to do so. And I'm gonna say shout out real quick to Landon. Landon say, don't hate on Professor X. Exactly. Okay.
You know what? So first of all, I have adult friends. I have adult relatives that I interact all the time back home. I'm still abreast on knowing what's going on in America. Just because I don't live there, don't mean I'm no longer American. And
This
we have these conversations, right? These are the conversations that people don't want to talk about in the dark. Roger, the other day, I talked to him, and he was like, "Man, I would love to get around these white people." Toya too. Toya up there trying to move to Phoenix.
Hey, listen, this
Y'all all
this
got
nigga
thrown under the
this
bus.
nigga is pulling a Donald Trump. He's saying, "I got that one black friend, so I know what I'm talking about."
And great reset. I know you live around white people, so don't even start. I know you live around white
I
people.
I do not. I do not,
I know you do. I know
Did you
you do.
just say I want to live around white people? Is that what you just
Yeah.
said?
He sure
Toya
did.
and Roger told me about it.
bro. He's gonna refuse to
Look,
be wrong today.
look
Listen,
at
hey,
look at this political environment right now. Look at all this MAGA stuff and all the Charlie Kirk stuff. I mean, even the black folks who might have originally been high on being around white folks, a lot of them are retreating from that shit, man.
Bro, you got but
So I
Toya
don't
got
know what
Toya
you.
dreams. You got to talk to her about that, brother.
well, listen. Why I still have a signal? Let me further Uru's point
Yeah. Okay,
when he
Don
was
Lemon.
talking. I appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So when it comes to education, now we have
Oh, let
the
me just say something
same.
real quick. Look. I'm just gonna say this because silence can mean consent. I have not discussed wanting to be around white people with anybody, and I am not gonna say that Toya has either. I'm not gonna say that she ain't on the panel to defend herself. I'm gonna say I don't know her saying that either.
Roger, Toya told me about her Candace Owens dreams. Great reset.
Toya, please come up here. Toya, please come up here and say this nigga is lying. He's doing what Donald Trump did to Serena Williams. My friend Serena Williams. That's what he's doing right now. That is what he's doing. But no, when it comes to families and education, what I said and what you're trying to negate is I said black men need to focus on getting married and having families. The reason why I said that is because white America is shrinking. And this is the time for us to be growing in population because that'll give us more political power in the future. And then while we're doing that, it will be idea as men, because we take care of our women anyway. Hey, babe, stay home. You're going to raise the children. We're going to homeschool the children. And if we do this in mass, because most of us live in black neighborhoods, and you, just like Uru said, you're going to have some people that are teachers. Hey, you can be the administrator of our homeschooling. On paper, it just looks like singular homeschools, but we're actually running a school. And you can do this in various households. You can have multiple students in various households doing this, and it will benefit us because we'll get the proper attention to our children when they're young.
You know why it would be, this is an example of a negative thing potentially being turned into a positive thing with the right plan and the right heart and goodwill. Think of the 600,000 black women who lost jobs over the last year.
Come on, bro.
Many of them are highly educated women who could be some effective teachers, at least through the, early childhood development years and maybe into high school, especially if they have math or science training. So, that's maybe an opportunity to take a bad thing and with the right plan and with the right consciousness and goodwill could actually turn into a good thing.
And to your point, Black Reset, the price of childcare is outrageous. Like they might as well stay home now.
The average man, and I've experienced this myself, the average man that lives with a woman and that woman has his child, by the time she goes to work and collects her check, all she's paying for is her car payment, her car insurance, and the cost of childcare. She could have stayed home.
Now, I'm gonna say that a few years back, I remember reading something that said the average child care was costing a couple or an individual about $400 a week. And I said, okay, so if you go to work for a week and you get paid for a week's amount of work, and then they take your taxes out that week amount of work, and then you got to pay for the to and fro to go back to work, and you pay all these little things. Once you add it up, did you actually earn more than $400?
No. But if you're paying $400 a week, that's like half of rent. God damn.
The numbers was, well, I'm just saying what I happened to see. It just said the average cost for a week. They said it was $400, and I'm just thinking,
that's not even quality.
You might
even quality care.
And I'm saying you might technically make more than $400 a week, but once you start saying how much money you had to let go because of taxes, and then travel back and forth, gas money, however you get in there, your public transportation, all the different things that go along with it, did you really make a profit? So I don't even see the point in it.
And in some cities, it's even higher.
And if you have a community of people where the women in that community are staying home, how much stronger is it going to be for the children to grow up in that community, the women because the women are going to come together while they're home with the children. Come on, bro.
And let me
Go
say
ahead.
this right there. Shout out to the audience because Stigma Boy say it's more like 500 a week, Rod. So I can easily believe that because I saw something that said 400 years ago. So if it's like 500, I don't know how you winning in that situation. It's just not the way my math works. I don't see how you're winning.
The
But Toya,
only reason child care has really economically worked in this country, and I'm putting work in quotations, I'll let Toy get in quickly. But the only reason it's worked is because it's been highly subsidized by the government, by the tax code, by the federal and state government. If you remove all the tax breaks and subsidies and the grants program, it never worked economically for what the average woman earned. It never worked.
all right, we got a few more guests coming in now because we got Toya here. Now, IC3, I don't know you personally, so I'm going to tell you this. Number one, I'm not going to even allow your camera to be on, so you're going to have to turn it off if you want to participate. And I will bring you up after Toya speaks and Chef Mike speaks. Then I'm going to bring you up. So you're going to be backstage chilled in because, you under tight constraints just because you're new. It happens to new people. Toya, you got the mic. Glad to hear from you. Glad to hear from you. Go right ahead.
Thank you so much, Roger, and I appreciated all those kind words at the beginning of the broadcast as well. Shout out to everybody here. I hope everybody's having a peaceful Monday. I just wanted to speak quickly to what Oriel was saying about the number of jobs lost by us Black women. I was in that number as well. I didn't talk very much about it, but yeah, I lost my job as well, but I'm gainfully employed again. And I can say that luckily I've had the opportunity to now use some of my time and resources at my high school alma mater and do some giving back as far as mentorship. And so that's where I'm able to pour in some of the experience I've gained in my career back into the community that poured into me. And that's how I'm choosing to pivot at this point. So I think it bears noting the point about, whether you can actually get into a classroom and teach or do it from the standpoint of mentorship. It's really important to be able to do that and to if you have the ability to have that networking, go ahead and take advantage of it because now is a very crucial time to be able to capture those minds and regain some footing.
I like wise words to me.
That's an excellent point. Thanks for sharing that,
Appreciate you,
Toya,
Toya.
And,
Appreciate
and,
you.
and thanks for
and, and, and
providing a
Toya, tell
real
us hot sauce
concrete
lying on
example.
you.
Why you gotta be an asshole, cocksucker? Toya, thank you. Toya. We good. We good, Toya. Thank you. Thank you very much. We good, Toya.
All right.
Well,
Toya's done.
no. Hold on. Let's ask Toya the question: is it your opinion that the majority of Black people would prefer to live amongst white people?
She's gone, Black Rule. She's gone.
Oh,
Kept
she
scaring
left.
her.
Yeah.
Yeah, go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's let Chef
That's a
Mike get
shame.
here, and y'all remember once Chef Mike is done, I got somebody backstage. I'm bringing up. So don't everybody just jump in. All right, Chef Mike, go ahead, my brother. Glad to see you.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to find yourselves on this fantastic and marvelous Monday. Greetings to you, Roger, always, to the gentleman on the panel. Elder Uru, is always good to share the panel with you. I jumped up real quick, and I'm
Here,
going to
here.
be real quick. What you all are describing, low key, is an updated version of what polygyny would look like. You're talking about networking. You're talking about employing unemployed women. Listen, if you take the conversation that we had Friday, you take that list and you gather maybe 2 or 3 women that are on the level and understand. Imagine the economic difference you make. We're really like low key talking about an updated form of polygyny, like putting together the architecture, what it would look like, what the possibilities could be. This is real talk, and this is real political power when you actually take the comedy out of it all, take the religiousness or any of that, take all of your idiosyncrasies out of it all. What you see is an architecture for political power, and I really do mean that. Think about it. Women share men now. Women share men now.
That's a good
What would it
point.
look like if they were actually sharing a man but had intent behind it? I'm gonna land my plane there, and I got to jump down. I will listen to everything else off the air, gentlemen. Y'all have a
That's another good point, and hold on, that's another good point because religion is another thing that keeps us segregated.
Chef Mike, before you go, there are no monogamous religions, bro. There are no monogamous religions.
No, okay. So when I say take the religion out of it, I'm talking about this quasi-religious new form, whatever. Today's mindset, because today's mindset doesn't understand the actual tenets of the book that it really touts. Like, you cannot name me one monogamous man in the Bible. Like,
That's
for real.
what I mean. There are no religions that are truly monogamous. It's the laws of the land that are monogamous. You're breaking up, bro.
Oh, my bad. All right. Can you hear me now? Is this better?
Yeah, I hear you.
All right. What I'm saying is, once you strip away everybody's idiosyncrasies, whatever your hangups are, I don't care if it's religious, spiritual, I don't care. Strip all of that away, and what you really do have is the architecture for political power. Let that sink in, because everybody's saying and making great points. And once you thread it together, you really do have something when you look at it. All right, I'm gonna land right there, and I got to jump off, gentlemen. But y'all have a great rest of the conversation.
All right, take it easy, Chef. Take it easy, y'all. And we got a new guest here. His first time, I believe. We have IC3, and I'm giving him the mic. IC3, you got a 2-minute opening statement. Go ahead and say what you want to say, my brother.
Greetings. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, greetings from London, North London, UK. It's the first time I discovered this channel, and I like the topic of the conversation and the conversations you've had so far. So I'm an activist, black activist, and reparations is a core, because I see that reparations is the most effective counter to white supremacy. So in answer to the question, would black people prefer to live around white people? Yes, they would, because the system of white supremacy affords a lot of benefits. The only people who, I suppose, the people that are fighting white supremacy, they realize that if you accept the system of white supremacy, it doesn't matter whether white people are close or far away. It's still the same situation. So that's all I got to say there.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Vindication feels good.
Don't get too excited. The population in UK of black people is like 2% or 3%.
Whether you want the convenience of being able to shop at Macy's or something like that, I don't know. I mean, there are certain, obviously, creature comforts of living or being able to interact in the proximity of white people because they own and control everything, or most things. But to say that you want to live with them would mean that, for example, you want to deal with all the passive aggressive and very often flat out aggressive behavior of white people, that you would want to expose your children to how they behave and treat black children, that you will want to have to deal with all the kind of them collectively getting together and undermining you, or at some point one of their random badass kids, or maybe a grown motherfucker paints a swastika on your damn garage door, shit like that. So look, and he's in the UK. So I'm not going to speak about how it works in the United Kingdom, but how it works in America is you have to make some real cost benefit decisions to live in and amongst white people, and especially when you have a wife and children, and you have things you have to be concerned about beyond yourself. Look, if you're by yourself, you coming and going, you got a condo or whatever, it's all good because you're not really paying much attention to what's happening anyway. But when you have children and property and things you have to be concerned about, a lot of those so-called benefits of living with and near and amongst white people get weighed heavily against with a lot of bad shit that happens. And you might have to have had some actual living experience. You might have actually had to raise some children to send kids to school, and then the white boys bringing guns to school and shit. You might have to actually go through some shit like that to appreciate what that really means.
Look, the brother came on here, told the truth. Now y'all upset, and I'm really and that's the bottom line, man. I'm upset.
Listen, I see 3. He said that, well, brother, you said this is the first time you came here. We're glad to have you here, but you don't know what you have done. You agreed with the worst of the worst of us up here. You came up here and gave this man some ammunition. Oh my God!
Now I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. Look, and we I'm gonna extend the show a few minutes because we at the 3 hour mark now. I'm extended a few
Okay.
minutes, but I'm gonna say this though. I mean, real talk. It is what it is. Living around white people ain't all that great. You know what I'm saying? It ain't all that exciting. It ain't what they make it out to be. I done said before. For some reason, my grandma was in a property on the Gold Coast, and she ain't rich. I ain't never known her to be rich. So I don't know what she was going on or what program she was in or whatever. It was something about some doctor's orders or whatever. But she ended up in some place on the Gold Coast. Okay. I done been around these white people. They ain't that exciting to be around. They ain't that pleasurable to be around. It just is what it is. They just people that just gonna get on your nerves, maybe a different way than maybe some black people got on your nerves. But ain't nothing special about them like that. And since now we are in a world where we're gearing more toward online stuff, what's the great benefit about being around them? I don't get it, you know. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna say, for the what the show is really about being useful to the group. If living near them makes me useful to the group, I tolerate it. But if I can be useful to the group without living near them, it's not really a necessary thing. I mean, I done lived in some good neighborhoods, and I chose the hood, as people would call it, because that's where my people at. And I'd rather live amongst my own. Plus, I can be far more useful to the group around my people than their people. That's my perception of it. So why? Now everybody. Well,
I
let
think.
me throw this in. Let me throw the caveat in. Now I am a
Go
single
ahead.
man, so I understand anybody who's saying if it's about a safety issue or something like that. I give you that. I'm a single man. You see what I'm saying? I ain't scared of the hood. You know what I'm saying? So
Let me tell you, Ron. A lot of black people over the years very enthusiastically went to live with and go to school. You can go into social media and see legions of them, by the way. A lot of black people very enthusiastically, these white people everything's gonna be so much better for whatever reasons, and get over there and catch total hell. And the closer you are to them and the more time you spend with them, the more of the madness you see and encounter. I mean, it's a different kind of madness. It's shit that you like, how can you even think and behave this way kind of madness? There's certain kinds of things that black people just don't do. White people do those things. So, okay. But it's not my observation that most smart black folks want to just live in, around, and amongst white people.
Put
In fact, the
caveats on.
smarter they are and the more experienced they are. Now, if you tell me some 19-year-old want to go live with some white people, foolish enough to want to go live with some white people, probably, because that same person is probably foolish about a lot of other things. But somebody who actually knows something knows better.
Well, like I said, 55% of the black population would love to be around white people. That's that.
I
Go ahead, brother. Let the man
let,
talk.
I think that's a mischaracterization. I think 55% of us want to be in the affluent communities, but I think as Uru said earlier, we got more black affluent communities now, and this is where we're finding our preferences at, brother.
Can we let the Londoners speak?
What was the question?
Straws, my friend.
What was the question?
So you talked about how black people absolutely want to live around white people. Please share. Please share how you got that.
Lord help us.
Oh, right. Oh, well, the benefits, stability. These and those black people that want to live around white people, it's usually white people that are inviting them in and say, well, this is my good black friend. Why don't you come and live around here? You're working with me. We're working together. Do you understand? They can. It's usually through an invite. An invite because you're in the same business. You know, like you get all these black millionaires and so on. So once the white supremacists are paying you good money, they need you close by to keep an eye on you.
Can I say something real quick?
If that made Household's argument or our argument.
No, that makes it worse. That makes it worse.
Wait a minute.
That don't sound like that sounds like somebody's been captured.
So, brother, let me, brother. Okay, first of all, let me ask him. I apologize. I didn't ask the question in the right way. So let me ask the question in the right way.
No, you did. You asked it the right way, and he answered it perfectly.
No, he did not.
You sure did, didn't you? You sure did.
So
I should have said.
Can I wait? So my good London friend,
bro.
My point is that
hold on real quick before you ask that question. Let me get the super chat in. Before you ask the question. All right. Shout out to
Ron, you get the super chat in.
Shout out to Floyd Thompson. He says, for making monogamous, making money Monday, go through Level Up at www.baileystarks.enterprises.com. Let us streamline your funding needs. I want to continue to be useful to the group like Furious. Long live the Habitual Line Steps. Well, there you go, y'all. There you go. Floyd got the business plan. Like you looking for some fun? Holler at the brother. He's doing this for real. So holler at the brother. All right. Appreciate that, Floyd. Floyd. Thank you very much. All right. Go ahead and ask your question, brother. And because we gotta get usual business in too, because he ain't made an open statement yet. So
this nigga came in late.
Man, let usual business get in. We tired of listening to hot sauce. He ain't gonna be wrong. He just ain't.
Kevin, Jesus just called. He said, "Shut the fuck up." Now I see.
Damn, Jesus talk like that?
Yeah. I see. Can you please tell me about how?
He my Jesus, bro.
The devil called you going to hell, bro. IC3.
Yeah.
Can you please tell me how black people talk about how they desire to be around white people? That's what I meant.
Oh, not
about. Well, that's a different thing. Talk. How black people talk about their desire to be around white people.
Yes.
I don't know about that. I would imagine that we'll be talking about their career or a good opportunity, and they wouldn't really talk about their desire to be around white people.
Said, because I'm confused, because before you said black people do want to live around white people. You said that.
He gonna alter this question until you answer it the way he wants you to answer it. That's what's happening.
Leading question.
I don't know how they do it over there in London.
Did I misunderstand you? Because you said that black people do want to live around white people.
What you wanted to hear.
You said that earlier, right?
No, the point I was making is that black people living around white people is usually by invitation, because the white people want to keep an eye. It's some career or something. They want to keep an eye on them.
Roger,
therefore,
he's rejected. Get this nigga out of here. Get him out of here.
I see three. You are welcome here every day of the
Welcome to
week,
the club.
sir.
Welcome to the
You are in
club.
good company now, sir. You are now in good company, sir.
You've been
I
baptized.
mean, I was trying to make that man speak. But
This nigga's captured. We can't trust him. He's captured. We can't trust him.
Hey, we dub him as part of the community in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
This guy is describing. This guy is aptly describing how white people like to keep black people around like pets. That's basically what he's saying.
Reject this nigga's visa. Get out of here.
There's exactly a town like that. River stuff. There's a town like that 1 hour east of Memphis. Oh, I'm sorry, 1 hour west of Memphis. Generations upon generations have lived in that town. And that's the way they treat them. I stayed there for a year and a half. I realized I was living in fucking Mephisto's land. I need to go. This ain't gonna work for me.
What?
You will die there.
To speak of a fluent black man, I want to give this man his proper introduction. This Negro didn't find out he was poor until he went to somebody else's house who had 10, count them, 10 bedrooms. Usual business, you have the floor.
Oh man! Oh, you did him like that.
I mean, you gotta put me on the spot though, bro.
Hey, he found out the 4 bedrooms he grew up in wasn't enough. That's what he found out.
You served that young man up. Why you serve that young man up like that?
Because I'm trying to give your boy Airline Hot Sauce losing the debate. I'm trying to give him my Airline.
Now, for me, I can only speak for myself. I come from a family. Money was a problem, but money wasn't necessarily the main issue, right? But I figured out I was poor, right, when I went with my uncle's family, or my my mom's side, my dad's side of the family. That's when I figured out, Negro, I was poor. You start going to people's houses and like everybody got Jags and shit. It's kind of like, damn, like, you really ain't doing too much. And then but
define poor. Define poor.
Now, how I looked at it growing up, right? Growing up in Florida, so I saw Florida before going back between Florida and Georgia, right? If you didn't have,
I'm gonna jump in right now and say, Gregory Scotland, appreciate you. He says, welcome to Get Out. Usual business is your lawyer. I'm gonna tell you, you ain't got to answer no question you feel uncomfortable answering, brother. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay. That's all I'm gonna say.
Because you definitely gonna get asked some. You definitely gonna get asked some.
Okay, now
that nigga went to the worst private school in the district.
Right. Yeah, he had the brown. He had the brown bag it to private school to Exeter. He had the brown bag his lunch.
I mean, it was hard though, bro. I figured out I was poor because like at where I started at, most people had a pool. That was like the normal thing for me, at least in my family, right? And then I went to my uncle's house and he had like a villa with like a whole pool in it. I was like, oh, it was levels to this game. I thought, me and my little 4 bedrooms and how my family started out, we had like the in-ground pool, the one that's like, the big one that's like really big. I was like, we doing pretty good. And then that's kind of like that one was like the in-ground one. And then you go to like your uncle's house and it's like he got a villa. Then it's like, oh shit, oh.
Yeah, you see
Poe.
the level of poverty he had to suffer with.
That ain't Poe.
The
Poe
level
is
of poverty.
going from 1 2 bedroom project to go visit your family, another 2 bedroom project, eating cheese toast that you done made into pizza with pasta sauce and the government cheese on top. That's your pizza. And whatever meat you might have left over. That's Poe.
My bad. I don't want to make it seem like we
That's why
didn't
I asked
suffer, bro.
him.
We did
That's
suffer.
that's
We
why I
did
asked
suffer.
him
I
to
did.
define. Yeah.
Eat syrup
Yeah,
sandwiches every
mustard,
once in a while.
mustard sandwich.
Yeah, from time to time. A
Candles
couple
when
of
the
years.
lights
It
go
wasn't
out.
like I was
Because,
had that now. We ain't never had that now. But I mean, I
hey,
did. We
Did
we
y'all
did some black stuff. You know?
did y'all live
black
around
ain't
white
Poe.
folk or black folk?
Oh, yeah.
Y'all
Mostly
live
black
around
people.
white folk or black folk? What? Say that
That's
so.
two. White folk Poe and black folk Poe, two different type of Poe. They got guns they can legally own to go hunt in the wild. They go need to eat some meat.
That is
You
two
We
type
go
of
try to
food,
hunt some
bro. I'm
shit
not
in the
gonna lie.
wild.
unusual.
We going to
Hold,
jail.
hold on. Let me ask you.
So
Let me ask
wait,
usual quiz
wait, wait,
a
wait.
question. Sort of. Let me
Go
ask you.
ahead.
Let me ask usual question. Kind of a black class question. Has it been your observation and life experience that the higher class black people really want to be around and live in amongst white folk? Has it been your observation?
Like I think what people is actually saying they want to have stability, and it's kind of like who don't want to have good food and
No,
who don't want
I'm
to have
not.
good
I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about stability. I'm not talking about stability. All that stuff. I'm talking about wanting to live around and operate around and be in the presence of white people.
it's more like black we said like usually the conversation that I had that at my family table was I can't stand so and so at the job, white dude so and so, like yeah, all it was really
Hmm.
basically you were just hearing like I ain't gonna say like horror stories but just stories in general of I can't stand this individual, I'm fighting for this position and so and so. I did start my company here necessarily, but now they blocking my this and that. It's like depending on your class level.
Hmm.
That I would at least on my dad's side of the family. On my dad's side of the family, I was like, oh, okay, so it's different.
I mean, the more black people have, it's been my observation, my life experience. The more they have, the less they want to be around white people. Because here's the thing: the more you have, the more you have to actually deal with them people in a lot of different sorts of ways. You know, the poorer you
Yeah.
are, your interactions with white people are going to be fairly limited, you know, logistically, but the more you have, you got to make decisions about money, investment, travel, vacation, and whatever. You're dealing with white people, and
Yeah.
most of those encounters, at the best you're going to get in most cases is them being pleasant, the best. But in most cases, especially over time, some shit
Yeah.
gonna happen.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right. The
there's a
higher you
big
go
difference
up,
between
yeah,
theoretical and
yeah,
actual. So yeah, good point.
yeah. I kept hitting
What
the
what you
glass
say? What you
ceiling.
say? IC3 sound like
Yeah, I'm just backing what he said
They're going to try to
because
steal your masters.
it's the same thing in my career and different businesses. Working for different jobs. The higher you move up into management level and executive level, it starts getting weird up there. They try and get control your sexual activities. The higher you go up, the larger the money goes. They
Oh,
go for they go for
oh,
between your legs. They're going to try and get you sleeping with somebody, or they need sexual control of you when the money gets larger. The higher you go, you hit that
yeah.
ceiling. It always moves into sex. Always.
Right now, I gotta say shout out to
Well, yeah,
Landry.
because
This is
because
America.
because sex is the easiest way. Is the easiest way to put you in a compromised position.
That's right. You know the game.
I gotta say shout out to Landry, who said he was poor without the overall part. And I appreciate that, brother. But y'all, we got something going on. So we're gonna have to end the stream. I'm gonna have to take something to some of the fellas real quick, but we're gonna have to end the stream. But we are past the 3 hour mark, so it's not like I'm doing no criminal activity, but I do got to end the stream. So blame it on me, y'all. Blame it on me. But it's been a great show. We'll be back tomorrow. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe. We do this every day, Monday through Friday. 9 a.m. Chicago town, not where you happen to live. I will see y'all next time around. Long live the habitual line steppers. I'm
Okay,
Roger.
take care.
I'm right. And I'm out.
Bye-bye.